6:06. Sorry, Madam Clerk. I didn't.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Here.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Here.
Councilmember Hul.
Here.
Councilmember Ionati.
Here.
Vice President Brown.
Here.
President Verducci.
Here, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. In the event of an emergency, you can go back out the way you came in. If that is blocked, you may go out the sides over here to the door marked exit and back. All right. First up tonight, I think we're going to bounce around a little bit. So, if the pleasure of the council, if we could take the agenda out of order.
Motion to take the agenda out of order.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We can start with the minutes, I believe. So we have a few different sets of minutes up front. We are on item 1A. We have open session minutes for March 24th, April 7th, April 14th, and April 28th. Any adjustments, edits, or anything from the council? All right. We can make a motion. Yeah.
Make a motion that we take them as a block.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to take them as a block. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Now back on the minutes themselves.
I'll make a motion to approve March 24th, April 7th, April 14th, and April 28th open session minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Abstain.
Oh, thank you very much. One abstention. Sorry. So we have some folks joining us here tonight. Mr. Perillo, which item would you like first?
If we can do the vitrilling license,
Victualling?
Dr. Robelot is here to explain any details of that. And actually, I don't think 4B is required. I believe Johnson's Pond had their fireworks, correct? So that's all set. So it's just going to be 4A under the vitrilling license.
Thank you very much. Director Robillard, good evening.
So I'll just start off. So as you know, many of you went to the ribbon cutting. Part of the ribbon cutting at the annex was the Project Friends Cafe, soon to be opened. With that said, we do need a vitrilling license. We do have state approval from the Department of Health. So Bob can explain any further, but that's what this item is that's in front of you.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you so much. This is an exciting opportunity, I think, for our community. We are going to be opening a Brewed by Friends coffee shop, but it's also going to be a training program. We are working closely with the Office of Rehabilitative Services and our supported employment specialists in Project Friends, along with our school district, and we've actually outreach to our transition program, our special education program, to do some real-life job training for children. Now have to have a kind of a workforce plan from 14 to 22 before they go into adult services. So it's a great opportunity for us to kind of assist all folks in our community to get some of those real job skills, start a business, and also put an opportunity into the community that wasn't there before. And we did get our state license, Department of Health license, the day that we had the ribbon cutting. It was that morning. So we're very excited to get started. We have all of our vendors lined up, and we're just this part of the victroling license is the next step.
Understood. Yes. Anybody who wasn't at the ribbon cutting, we had a great little run through of what it was going to look like in there, and it sounds like a great program. I think it's going to be very useful. So I think you're looking to have it open for kind of everyone eventually to come in and.
Yes, absolutely, to be open to the public, but we want to start with a soft opening, like a lot of the One of our local businesses did recently.
Family girl.
And the whole idea of like having another opportunity for folks to come into that space, because there's going to be a lot of services there as well, veteran services and GED programs, a variety of other things that if you go in for a coffee, you might stay for something else. So.
Really looking forward to it. Councilman Hu?
I just want to add to that. It was nice looking on the outside to see the excitement of the people who are going to be behind the counter over there. It was nice to see that the families are excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the new victualling license for Coventry Friends of Human Services, DBA Brewed by
Second.
Friends.
Motion and a second. Any,
Do that because I think it's important that you see instead of just hear about it. And when you see it, it's a pretty amazing opportunity that this town is getting, and a lot of other communities didn't go in for it. So I think we're take full advantage of bringing services right across the street.
no, it's going to be really good. We can do like an inaugural sandwich cutting instead of a ribbon.
Yeah,
Could do like a little,
inaugural
Yeah.
donut maybe. I don't know.
works for me. All right, I'm in.
Figure it out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did we actually vote? That was a motion in a second. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Director. All right. So that takes care of all of Section 4. And I see Director McGee here. Would you like to head over to resolutions?
Perfect. So these are resolutions the director goes out for yearly for supplies. We did pull one of the resolutions that'll be continued until the meeting on the 28th. That's 2026-75. But the director's here to speak on the other 3 that are within his domain.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, Mr. Director.
Good evening. At the last meeting, you folks approved the purchase of the cab and chassis with the DARA grant. This resolution is for the fit out for the body, sander and plow to go along with that. And you have it before us and it's coming out of the capital budget. And we ask that you approve the choice of Viking sieves in the amount of $107,577.
Question? Okay. We have a motion from Councilman Pasqua,
Second.
second from Vice President Brown. Any discussion? Councilman Hu?
Clarification. Do you know how much was covered by the grant?
All of it,
All of it was?
yes.
Thank you for that.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. And to the next one. That would be 2673.
This resolution is for the purchase of drainage pipe. Again, these are the products and services that we purchase on an annual basis. It's there, we had the approval, and as we need them, based upon the projects that are coming up, then we purchase it from that vendor. And we're asking this time for just the drainage pipe to be awarded to Core and Main Company out of Johnston, and the price breakdowns are attached. And we had there was 2 bidders for the drainage pipe, and then we chose the lowest qualified bidder for the drainage pipe alone.
Was this bid out on the MPA or was it its own solicitation?
We want RFP on this. I think you may have had the RFP attached in the as part of the package. If
Gotcha.
not, I'm happy to provide you with a copy of it.
I do have a question, and I'm just trying to find the backup documents. I know they didn't come over with the original agenda, but on one of the bids for the erosion socks,
Yeah, that's another.
that's the next one?
That's the next one.
Perfect. Thank you.
This is just for the pipe.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. On to 2026-74, castings, tubing, and erosion controls.
Correct. Councilman, I mean, you have a question on the erosion controls?
I do. Can we?
Yep, please go ahead.
So on the bid sheet, I'm curious to know why the bid went out with the option for per square foot, and that was crossed out,
Per square, some of them
And
come
it-
from square yard.
and it was put in for per roll.
Correct.
Now, the difference between a price per square foot was pennies, like 38 cents nationwide, and per roll was $355. So I questioned, why would the bid sheet go out and say price per square foot, but the bid comes in crossed off, no initials next to it, and it's written roll? How much does the roll include?
It's there are rolls that are different lengths, 25 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet. So we look at that, we figure out what the per square foot price or linear foot price is based upon that and do the comparison.
That's confusing me. So there's 3 different size rolls.
Correct.
The bid doesn't identify how big the roll is, but has a price next to it.
Correct.
Can you make that make sense for me?
Each one of these vendors, we historically bid it by what you see on the bid page.
So historically, then why is the sheet still going out that says price per square foot if you've been doing it for rolls forever? I'm just confused.
No, it normally goes out per square foot. Now, they may have had the vendor, I talked to the bidders, and they said the vendors are now changing that to the per roll. We hadn't been notified of that. So now we're figuring out what that is. Next year, it will go out on a per roll basis and identify the size of the rolls. But the linear foot price is, we're getting the best price that's available to us. And Warwick Wind Water is a company that we've been dealing with for years, along with E.J. Prescott, who decided not to bid this year. But we were going with the tubing, erosion controls, and the casting with Warwick Wind Water.
I'm more confused than when I started.
Sorry.
There's a big price difference is all. I'm like, the national standard for price per square foot is like 38 cents. Right? It was a quick Google search. I'm not an expert in erosion blankets. What I'm an expert in is looking at a contract that was crossed off, not initialed. Something was written in. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know how big the rolls are. Are they the size of my coffee cup? Or are they the back on an 18-wheeler? I'm just trying to imagine what this looks like. And that's, I guess I'll,
We can get some
Again,
more
if you have-
information. I mean, I think it might be best to continue it to the next meeting, and we'll get some more information for you, Councilman.
I mean,
Think-
if you would have had that question, we could have got those answers for you, today during the day.
I'd send my email over to the town manager. So don't say if I had the question. If I just
Oh, no.
was provided with the right information, I wouldn't have had the question.
Yep, I would get that information for you.
All right. Do we need to docket this for next
28.
meeting is the 28th? Okay. So that was 2026-74, moved to the 28th.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next one, I believe, is plumbers.
That's also going to be continued to the 28th.
Continued
if
to
the
the
council
28th.
wants to continue that one to the 28th.
Okay. Right, and that just leaves us with item F, 2676, approving the use of public building impact fees for $49,797.72 for 2 main condensers over at the senior center. This is a continuing saga here.
Yes, so as you know, you approved some funding in April for condensers for the senior center, and we're back again because they need new condensers. So we reached out to ATC to kind of give us an overview of what the situation is there. And right now, it seems like we're just Band-Aiding a bigger problem. The system that was installed in 2018 was the wrong system, I'm told, for the use that we have here in New England. And to replace the entire HVAC system for both buildings, senior center and the police department, is about 1.2 million. So at this point, the senior center is partially shut down because there's no HVAC. We did move forward and purchase some portable HVAC units to reopen the senior center. But this proposal in front of us is to get that place up and running again with 2 new main condensers. With that said, I can let Bob explain more of a history of where we're at.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And just wanted to confirm too, so it's not just shutting down operations and services. Are both of those locations also warming and cooling centers?
The senior center is.
Part of our EMA is to
yeah.
provide those services to our community. We weren't able to do that when we had those 100-degree days. We had no AC whatsoever. We've had multiple issues. The bane of my existence at this point is this HVAC system. We have done multiple small repairs, and today we put in room air conditioners so we could open tomorrow. That's my staff and I, that's what we did today. So believe me, whenever we have a high level weather event, whether it's the coldest day of the year when we're a warming shelter, we were closed. We were without heat this year for 42 days. We don't scream that out loud. We just, my staff go to work every day, make sure that, you know, we're providing services, and it's very difficult to get to the point where you actually can do the work when you have to worry about not having a place that's for high-risk individuals to have a safe place to be. So it has been a very difficult issue. I can tell you my staff have been very resilient. Our seniors have been resilient. They've rolled with us through this whole thing. But we don't have a HVAC system that is beneficial to our community at this point. And sitting, you know, as a human services director, it's very, very difficult to not be able to provide those services to people that need them. That's why we come to work every day. So, yeah, and we've done small repairs. You know that we've come, you know, asking for impact fees on a consistent basis with this. This is not news to you folks. You've sat in these meetings, and it's been an issue that just seems to not be remedied at this point.
I know it's hard to predict, but you know, given it's going to be 2 new condensing units, did they give you any indication on, you know, if this will hold up at least for a while we plan the future here?
Obviously, the hope is that we did have a meeting with the owner of ATC who said that, you know, there's no like absolute guarantee, obviously, but he was saying 85% effectiveness. You know, this is a solution that we're really trying to fix. I'm not an HVAC guy, and I never want to be one, to be totally honest. Not that I think that trade is very important, but I'm a social worker. You know, I'm a director of human services, and what we're trying to do is get those services to people. We can't do it if we're not open.
Gotcha. Councilwoman Ionati.
So my concern, I know how important it is for the seniors to have a warm shelter because they're always cold, and to have, you know, AC and heat. That's not even a problem. I understand that. My question is, Dan, you stated that we had the wrong system put in place. Who would that fall back on? Because we're not HVC people. So is there any way of getting, how did we find out that it was a wrong system? And who put that in?
From what ATC has told us and other contractors, it was the wrong system that was selected for the building.
And we have no kind of fallback on that? Because-
The warranty for the original system expired in 25, and the company that installed it, the subcontractor's out of business.
Oh,
Yeah, we actually brought this up one of the first meetings I think this kind of crew had. We chased it all down, asked about the warranty stuff because it sounds so absolutely ridiculous.
So have we gotten bids for the new system?
No, I just had ATC give me a ballpark price.
Should
Of
we
what-
be
of what
getting
a-
bids out?
Oh, if we decide, the council decides that it's something they want to move forward on, I mean, obviously,
One number, but we have no bids, and we don't want to fall back into a bad system again.
the repair contract, you mean?
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, getting
A-
replaced and repaired and
Yeah,
whatever.
so
we're doing.
ATC is our contractor, our
Right.
HVAC
But
contractor,
Should we
so
be getting bids on this?
we have it in the past. They're our contractor, like we have a year of contract with them. So I don't think we need to go out to bid. We have them under contract to repair all of our HVAC in all of our buildings. But when we do go out for the big $1.2 million project, that will definitely go out to bid. Once the council decides if they want to move forward with that and what funding mechanism we want to use,
Okay.
which is
So
probably
when-
a bond, I would assume.
When did we hire them as our contractor?
ATC's been here. Kev, any idea?
They put the systems in when we did the energy management system, so they've been here for about 8 years.
Yeah.
So we
They-
shouldn't be
yeah.
checking on their price too, like insurance, I would with car after a while?
Did every year. You council approved it.
And they
Yeah.
always come back, okay.
Yeah,
So they're always the lowest bidder?
they're a contractor right now, currently, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You, Councilwoman Capaldi.
I remember when you first brought that to us, it was crazy. So we're not going to go back there anymore. When you get these new condensers or when you go out to bid to get the 1.4 million, whatever, the whole system, obviously it comes with a warranty. Is there an extended warranty? Is there something, I don't know what kind of building insurance you have that this would fall under that we could utilize a little bit more? Because that system that in 2015 sounds like it was, I don't know who was running the town at that time, but it sounds like it was a little not, managed correctly. So can we look into that when we get to that point? I don't know if HVAC systems come with extended warranties
So,
and all this stuff.
Experientially from this whole,
Debacle?
that's a great word.
I know.
I have a couple other ones, but that's a good, the contractor, when they install it, will have a warranty. And then the company that makes the product has an extended warranty.
So like a home insurance and, will protect.
If the product that's placed, the service that we're talking about here, that repair, once that's there, the ability to, you have to register all those units with the company, like you do an extended warranty when you buy a refrigerator or something like that. And then that gets registered, those things get registered on that date of installation. And then you have the extended warranty from there based on each of the companies. Like we know Samsung because we've been dealing with them. That's the entity that's made the heating system for us here. So
Okay.
if that explained.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's something in place because since 2015 and the thing hasn't been working, you guys you're like MacGyver trying to put tape and bubble gum, trying to keep everything up. So I just
Been
hope,
doing that, I can tell you that.
I know you have. So hopefully there's a good warranty in place to, protect it.
And we can research that too. We can ask the.
Awesome. Thank you.
So regarding the funding, right now we have it coming out of impact fees. Bob's going to look into some potential other resources that the senior center and his board may have to help offset some of that. We don't have any clear direction on that yet, but worst case scenario, public building impact fees, but we're hoping it's not going to be that full amount of 49,000. We're hoping that Bob's board will be able to supplement that and reduce that number.
Gotcha. And it might also be a good time to give us a new update on what's in the accounts for the impact fees, maybe for next meeting, just so we get a sense of it again as these pile up. Councilman Hool.
If Director Savetti was here, I'd be curious to know, he is here. Where's Bobby? Oh, there's Bobby. Hi, Bobby. How are you, sir? I'm curious to know if you would know, and maybe not, I didn't ask this ahead of time, how much we've spent, right? I want us to find a path forward without you coming forward and us nickeling and diming away these impact fees to keep band-aiding it. Like eventually our repairs are going to add up to 1.2 million. So we can just get an adequate system. We can save our impact fees and we can find a financial savvy way to
We might be able to
finance
do,
it.
sir.
My
Absolutely.
question is, do we know how much we've spent? And maybe Director McGee will know how much we've spent repairing the system. Because look, I'm an advocate for seniors. It's one of like my little niches here. We can't have them in a building without heat and that's also the building that we use for like, the EMA. That building is
Polling, it's a polling.
yeah, it's sad. We got to find it. So part of my, after he Bobby, go ahead, Mr.
I
Savetti.
was just gonna say, most recently, it's probably been 30 to 40,000.
Okay. So we're going to be close to maybe 70, 50 and 80,000 at this point. Okay. All right. I'd like to find a way that we can start to all of us put our heads together and stop kicking these cans down and eventually all the cans add up and you can't kick the pile anymore. And that's what I'm afraid of. So
We
we
did
got to start
apply,
tackling
we
some of
did
this.
have the grant writer apply for a grant for that new HVAC system last year, but it wasn't selected. So we have been actively looking to options to change that out, but again, we just haven't found that funding mechanism as of yet.
Thank you. And in the interim, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-76, approving the use of public building impact fees in the amount of $49,797 to replace two main condensers through our vendor ATC.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and meanwhile, we'll continue discussion. Council Vice President Brown.
Director, do you know if it affects the police department too? I mean, they probably have the same, it's a shared building, right? So,
Shared building, a separated system. So it's important to know that it's the same type of system. So as you say, like kicking the can, right? But it's just it's a concern.
but
Is
I
it-
think the issues have popped up on the police side too.
Yeah, yeah.
So just so everybody's aware, it's a shared building, it's a shared
Same vendor.
HVAC.
Same time, yeah. So I think the breakdown is, I think the police side is about 700,000, the new system, and the senior center side is about 4.5. I mean, 450,000, I'm sorry.
Do they have the right size?
A lot of fans.
Yeah, somehow he's
We just-
got a lot of fans still.
It's got a lot of ACs today, so.
Yeah, so the police side, it has a different, not this different system, but it's broken down differently, so it's more expensive to replace. But the total's about between 1.2 and 1.4.
Is that the right size system for the police station?
I think it's the right size system, it's just a defective system.
Yeah, because they've got a lot of equipment in there too, servers and, yeah, it's got to kick off a lot of heat. Gotcha. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Back to it. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Stay cool.
Mr. President, there's one more resolution that I want to continue, let the council know, the resolution for the Hopkins Hill Light that we continue to today, we want to continue that to the 28th as well. So it'll be 3 total resolutions from tonight that get continued to the 28th, when we have some other matters that'll also be going onto that docket as we get through the meeting.
So we are under item 6, that was A, 26-71. We are going to move to the 28th along with the other 2. Do we need a motion for that? Okay.
I'll make a motion to push Resolution 2026-71 to along with Resolution 2026-74 and 2026-75 to the July 28th meeting.
We have a motion by Councilman Hull, second by Councilman Pasqua. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. So that does it for resolutions. All right, pleasure of the council. Anybody have let's go into
The charter review appointments, Mr. President, maybe we should be next before we have the public hearings.
Sure. All right.
And just to clarify, there is 9 positions for the Charter Review Committee. According to the current charter, there's no ability to appoint alternates. There's 6-month terms with 1 additional 6-month bid, correct, Solicitor? Yep.
So yeah, just to reset a little bit for everyone else who's watching, this is going to be what we are calling our comprehensive charter review. So I believe this commission is going to continue on for some time, 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. Something it's a long-standing thing. Go ahead, ask Scott. Yeah. Oh yeah. So you know, you don't have to serve that whole time, but you know, God bless you if you want to. this is obviously something that's going to have a lot of different, things coming out of it as we go on. It's not going to be a finite end date, and so we appreciate everybody for putting names in for this. I think tonight it's up to the council. We're going to have, I can see some of the folks here tonight. If we want to keep it to have them come up, tell us a little bit about themselves, maybe ask a question or two, and then we can maybe, I know we got some other stuff in late today. Maybe we take a minute or take a couple weeks, examine it, and then put the names up for appointment for next time. But just wanted to let you know we have options for that. Otherwise, we can just kind of start and go down the list and have people come up, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just a little introduction of who you are and a little bit of your background. Yes, Mr. Solicitor.
For clarification, there are two different charter review processes. One is a 5-year review that began as of, it could be 5 years or sooner, as of the election in November of 22. And then, and so we were under the impression that that's the one that the council was doing, the 5-year review. The comprehensive one happens every 25 years, and that commenced as of 2023. It says no later, so you could theoretically have one comprehensively no later than 25 years from 2023. But I think the one that's before the council, and I talked to the town manager, is the 5-year, the one that's every 5. We're in year 4 from 22. So it's supposed to be no later than every 5 years or sooner. We're in year 4. That's what the charter says. There's a 5-year review, no later than 5 or sooner. And then there's a 25-year review from 2023 or potentially sooner. But the comprehensive one is a 2-year process, and this is a 6-month process that can be extended to a year.
All right, so I was wrong.
So I think we should clarify that. I believe this is the 5-year one.
So this is the 5-year charter review, and we would have to do it now to satisfy the charter because of the 5-year?
4 years.
Right,
You're doing
yeah,
it
but
4
yeah,
years, but
right.
You have to do it now or next year.
Okay. All right. Well, interesting. Yeah, I was just in my head as the other one. I don't know who going to put that there, but let's see who's here and who wants to come up and talk charters. I'll just start with the first person on the list. Has anybody seen Scott Guthrie? We're talking charters. If we say it 3 times, he appears. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Scott Guthrie, 31 Maplewood Drive. On the last charter review, there was an addition to have a comprehensive charter review. And if you look up, I believe it's going to be 1520.1. That is what is expected to happen tonight, not the 6-month review. So what would happen with this is it's an ongoing charter review. The way it was written was to make sure that our laws align with state laws. If anybody remembers anything that's happened over the last 2 years, you could see that a lot of people had no clue what the Coventry Charter meant, including the former solicitor who said, your charter doesn't matter because state law supersedes it. He and I had probably a few discussions over it, well over a year, where he said, your charter doesn't matter. And my argument was that our charter is our governing document in our town, and it's going to continue to be that. When he came in as the solicitor, he started right out of the gate, first meeting, saying that your charter doesn't matter, you're under state law, and this and that. And I was right on the other side of the gate saying, I'm sorry, you're wrong. So what the voters passed in the 2022 charter review was to have a comprehensive charter review. that is going to be ongoing. It is not the same as 1520, which is what I believe, David, you're referring to. So this charter review is expected to run for a term. You probably would have people that would step away from it over time. Now, this is to keep a neutral charter, a governing document that can't be dilly-dallied with, like the other charter commissions have done in the past, where they have made amendments to the charter for political reasons. And it took all of the basic parts of what our charter says, our governing document. So it is my intention and was my intention to make sure that this is going to be the charter review that Bob Brennan worked on hard and had it passed so that we could set ourselves a path that can't be swayed one way or the other politically. It is going to be the document that runs the town, makes sure that there are no inconsistencies with laws that are passed at the state that may affect us at the town level. So I don't know what you want to do with this, Solicitor, but the intention is for this to be the comprehensive charter review. It's up to the council to make that decision. It does not stop the town from having another charter review under 1520 for, within the 5-year period or whenever they would like to have it, which was the old language. So what you would have is you would have people that are interested in government that can get appointed to a board to make sure that you're going to govern yourselves accordingly. And their job is also going to be is to make sure that our local laws and charter language is not inconsistent with the state. So we have a whole lot of things going on with housing. I think that the charter review may want to be a part of that as we move forward. I think that a lot of maybe next year you'll probably see legislation coming from the town saying that, listen, we understand that, when you put the housing rules in, you had to put it in across the state. But we still have the ability to exempt ourselves from that through the legislature. So there was a group that came in and they wanted us to invest $15,000 into a law firm to fight on our behalf with a bunch of other cities and towns. Why do that when you can do it for free with state legislators? Where they can bring what our information is up to them, and we can carve ourselves out of what the state housing law is and make it more beneficial to our community. So the argument right now that I'm seeing that I didn't expect is that you're saying that, no, we're going to do it the old way. This is going to keep people involved. If you want to know how hard it was to get 9 people to come and sign up to do this, it was an astronomical task. So we have people that want to serve on this and want to serve on it and continue to serve on it. So you could have people conceivably that could be on this commission for 15 or 20 years. And you may have people step away, no different than any board or commission in the town, but always have that guiding principle on how we operate and govern ourselves. So my next question would be to the solicitor, where do you want to go with this? And what did you expect?
I don't answer questions to the public, but I'll for council's edification. I would suggest that this matter get continued. If the council want to pursue the Comprehensive Charter Review Commission, an appropriate resolution should be drafted for you. That's not what's before you tonight. If that's what the council wants to pursue, I'll prepare that and it'll be on your next document.
There is a timeline of things that need to be done. And if you don't put this charter commission together tonight, there's the possibility that any questions that the town may want the charter review to take a look at, make a recommendation and send to the ballot may be foregone. So my argument is to put this group together and move forward, and let's not move backwards. So like I said earlier, you know, we had a solicitor that came into this town that told everybody on this council and everybody in this room and everybody that lives in this town that our charter means nothing. Well, he was proved wrong and he's gone. So my goal is to make this town work. If you think it was not done properly, I'm sorry. They set the docket, and the docket tonight is to put that charter review in place. So the war that's going to go on, the war that's going to go on right now is between you and the council.
Yeah, let's,
My final
go
point,
ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
President, is the Comprehensive Charter Review Commission cannot submit their report to you sooner than 1 year after appointment. So that wouldn't be on any ballot question. The only way the Charter Review Committee could give you an item for this upcoming election would be if they were the 5-year, because they have to give a report no later than 6 months.
Can you please read?
They're two different purposes. The Comprehensive Charter Review Commission is supposed to give a report no sooner than 1 year and no later than 2 years. None of those actions are going to be for this election.
Can you
Just so we're clear.
please read the language of 1520 and the addendum that's under it, and you'll prove yourself wrong. Please read the language.
Unless this charter is not the valid charter on your site, that's what I'm reading right now.
I'm on there too. I think a few of us are on here. You know, I think we are all meaning well and we all want the same thing, and I don't want to waste anyone's time who came tonight. You know, I still think we should hear from people either way, because then we can, you know, I don't think anybody up here wants to either violate the charter or slow down progress. We just want to make sure we do it right. I was just under the impression it was the comprehensive one. You know, the agenda kind of just says charter review. So it wasn't specific on there either. So obviously we want to do it right. If there is no loss to the time perspective, you know, I think it still makes sense to go along with at least what I and maybe some other people thought we were doing was the comprehensive one.
The council's aware, any ballot question the council was going to put on the ballot for November has to be to the Secretary of State's office by August 5th of 2026 at 4:00. So the idea that there's going to somehow be some charter review commission in the next 20-something days that's going to have something that's going to get back on your docket before August 5th is just an unrealistic expectation. That's just a practical reality. If you're having a special election, that's different. Then November doesn't matter.
Councilman?
I am agreeing with the solicitor here, just with my interpretation of how I'm reading this. So how do we move forward with this if we're not even understanding? Like, we have a solicitor saying one thing, I'm reading it, and it's clear as day that it says every 5 years. The bottom
that's
one
1520.
in for the attachment 15.20B as in boy does clearly state that the town council commencing in 2023 and no later than every 25 years, which means we have to do it between 2023 and 2048. For that one, that's for the Comprehensive Charter Review Commission. And it says shall be a period of no less than 1 year with a term beginning the day the council appoints, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's long. But the amendment to the charter for the charter review does state that 2 years after the adoption of the charter and every 5th year thereafter, which we're in year 4, or more often, if deemed necessary, appoint a committee of 9 members to review the charter. Appointment shall be 6-month term, beginning at the day the town council appoints. So I'm confused because what you're saying, I'm just not seeing here. So I don't want to move forward with this. I'm an advocate for the Charter Review Commission. You know that. So my question isn't against the advocacy for the Charter Review Commission. My question is, are we appointing, which one are we doing? Because what you're saying and what I'm reading and understanding outside of what the solicitor is saying to me, I'm reading it myself. I don't understand what you're saying.
So we believe that this was going to be the comprehensive charter review.
Who's we?
Everybody that applied for it.
Understood.
Do you know how long it got people to apply
I do.
for it? So if you don't act on this, or if you want to amend it and make it, part of a 5-year charter review, or
What would be the difference to you?
to me, is to keep the ball rolling and make things work in this town.
But every
Is-
5 years would be a consistent ball rolling.
It's every 5 years or less if deemed necessary.
But if it's running and nobody takes it apart, wouldn't
There's
it?
nobody there right now.
But if we
okay.
appointed the 9 members, Scott, and we got it started, right? I'm just trying to understand this.
Alright, so-
And if we went 5 years and 9 members sat for 5 years and they did the charter review and they gave us their recommendations, nothing stops them from going to year 6 to 10, right?
Well, it's a totally different charter review. That's the.
Correct. Until the 25 comprehensive one would kick in,
Right.
correct?
So what?
Which if we did that now, because we have a 25-year stretch of when that's required, would then we have to wait even longer to do it again? It's like you always could do a comprehensive every 3 years if you wanted to.
That's not
Right?
the way that it was intended, and it's not the way that it's written. So all I'm
Shall appoint-
trying to say is that the understanding was this was going to be the comprehensive charter review. I spoke with people on the council. Everybody thought it was that way. Well, so maybe not you, maybe not you. So, that's fine with me. So if you want to go ahead and stick with just appointing, a charter review commission to act and get language that you need by August 5th, because I believe that there are things that you want. And I believe that there are things that the people want. And mind you, it was the people that voted to have that, they voted to have that comprehensive one, leaving the other one in place. So short of making an argument out of everything, do you want to have a charter committee sit between now and August 4th to give you any recommendations that the people would like to have and what the voters have asked for? So I would leave that up to the solicitor. I just don't want to see something killed that's as important as the governance of this town.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to stop progress or kill any of that. Yeah.
Suggesting the council pick one or the other. I'm just letting you know there's 2 choices. You have to decide which choice you want. And if you're going to choose the comprehensive one, I think it should be done with the.
That's so, instead of, to avoid delaying a couple weeks just to get that drafted, can we proceed with the 5-year one? We have people here tonight, hear from them, get the ball rolling, and then that would give the members enough time, a little less than a month.
Keep in mind, possibly, but it has to, keep in mind what the council has to do, so we're clear, right? Charter Review Commission would have to present a report to the ballot questions to the council. Council would have to have public hearing on them. It would have to go to the Board of Canvassers and be approved before it goes to Secretary of State. So a very tight window. In other words, it's very unusual for towns to try to do that in 20 days.
You would probably need it done in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Because
2
again, it
weeks.
has to be in front of the council, and then it has to go to the Board of Canvassers, then it has to go to the
General Assembly.
General
I'm sorry,
Assembly,
to the Secretary.
Secretary of State. So
It's not
super tight window.
just a very tight window. You'd have to have special meetings, that's all. That's the goal.
All right, any
It's
thoughts
just-
up here?
That it's just another commission that's going to be tossed aside.
I don't think anybody here wants to
That's
toss
kind of
anything
upsetting
aside.
to me.
I think this is more of a, we're all on the same page except for the technical stuff that we were each all thinking two different things.
And I think too, with the council sticking to the 2-year elections, I think it makes a charter review more important because it has the opportunity to vote every other November pretty much on changes that you want to make.
Yeah.
As opposed to every 4 years.
There's also,
A special election.
there's also questions that are going to be sent out to go back to 4-year elections. Yeah. So,
So can
Go
we,
ahead,
do-
Councilwoman Ionati.
so can we elect people tonight to be on the commission? Because we've taken forever to get people.
That's what I'm more worried about. Yeah. I don't want to stop anything. I'm glad people have volunteered. I don't want to waste anybody's time tonight.
To see people get
Yeah.
on the board, on the election,
Yeah.
on the board, and that we solidify that, because we've taken us forever to get people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's a lot of important things in that charter that Scott is correct on, especially when it comes to housing. It comes to a lot of things. And we
Agree.
can't keep kicking a can and not have anybody elected on that commission.
So it sounds in general, are we in a consensus with that up here at least? And that won't put a stop to anything? And then correct me if I'm wrong, solicitor, but there's always if we had to, we could do these in parallel. The two different, as hard as that would be, and as crazy as that sounds, it is a possibility that in 3 years, we could have 2 charter commission reviews going on. So just so we're clear on that. I think it's the 5-year is kind of how the council wants to roll tonight. That is how it is. Plus, if we went for the comprehensive, we'd need to wait another week at least or 2 just for the resolution. And yeah, so I think we all generally want the same thing. We just screwed up on the specifics. So, okay. Do we want to, thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it. We're good with you. I think we'll keep rolling then. And then that way we'll keep our foot on the pedal because nobody wants to throw this to the side.
yeah, I want, these
Yeah.
people, there have been people that put their name in months and months. and
No, we
months.
appreciate it. We know how hard it is.
So, I'd hate to see a
No, absolutely.
disservice,
Yeah.
for them,
Yep.
and they're sitting there waiting to
Oh,
be
sure.
appointed.
Councilwoman Ionati?
So tonight, after we elect council for your board for the charter commission, what would be your goal? Like, what's your steps now that we have 9 people? So would you
Then,
be getting?
then we
together?
would have to meet, we would have to organize. I would have to speak with whoever the chairperson is, would have to speak with the manager to see if we want to use town resources or not use town resources. The last time that I sat as the chairperson. We used outside counsel instead of Gorham and Gorham.
Mhm.
The manager at the time had no problem with that. He just said that, we can't afford to put another clerk in with, we're just all out of, employees to help. So what we did is we elected, our chairperson, our secretary, did our own business at no cost to the town with the exception of the legal representation that we put forward. So
So with that being said, he'll get together, have all that. But does the town council get updates on what the charter commission is doing?
absolutely.
Or is that, so is that like every 3 months, every 2 months?
It should be quickly, especially with the time frame that we have.
Okay, yeah,
So we currently in our charter, we violate state law. And that needs to be taken out of the charter.
okay.
So, and like I said, charter changes that were made 15 years ago broke a whole lot of laws. And in my opinion, it was to keep the sitting solicitor busy. you know, so he can make a little bit of money.
No.
So we had handed over the documents stating a state law that we're violating, and those packets or those letters were taken out of their packets.
Yep.
So there was a whole
Councilwoman
lot of nefarious stuff going on. Yes.
Go ahead.
I think I coined you the Charter King at one time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not.
But I did. I said it. So we have 9 positions. There are 10 people here. You're running for District 2.
They're not done by district. It's at large. This is-
What I mean is, can somebody be here as a council person and also be on the commission?
I can answer that. No.
So you would, if you won, you would step
If
down?
if I were successful running a campaign to be on the town council, I would have to give up that seat.
Okay.
But if I don't, I can stay on that seat
Okay.
and stay working to have a, honest and transparent government, which is what I'm all about. So
So
Sorry, go ahead.
talking about solicitor, I know that I think you and Dan were talking, so because there's 9 open seats right now, we could have 9 and an alternative.
no.
Have an alternate.
So what was the outcome of that conversation?
Can only have 9.
Oh, so we have to pick 9 out of these 10 people. Okay,
The Constitution says 9.
okay.
It's complicated, but yeah. So, it's hard to get anybody to want to do anything. I'm sure you have vacant boards and commissions that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's bring up our next contestant then, since now that we made the game so fun and appealing for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Susan Morris here? Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. We do want to get stuff right, but sometimes it's just this technicalities, and so thank you very much for your patience.
Susan Morris, I reside at 325 Richardson Road. I've been there since 1991. Don't have specific experience with charters. My experience has been around bylaws for churches, municipal organizations, other kind of organizations. I enjoy that kind of work. I have a long history of working with family court law, so I understand how to write petitions and all of that good stuff. I am a little confused as to what the heck I've signed up for.
We just clarified it. It's not obvious. Clear as mud.
So I am a little concerned about what I've signed up for because I do take my commitments seriously. Anyway, I would look forward to doing it. I think it's fascinating work to see how you create a document that an entire town or other larger government has to work from.
No, I think that experience will come in handy, and I think the fact that you find the work interesting is half the battle. So thank you for that. Councilman Hool?
I was excited to see you on this list. I just want to acknowledge that there's not many council meetings that you are not in the audience, whether it is just you or you in a room full. So thank you for that. That alone, you are involved, you are paying attention. You don't need to know the charter. You can learn the charter. You can teach anyone who's willing. So thank you for that. I just wanted to take that moment to acknowledge it.
Tuesday nights, is racing, so sailboat racing. So it's catch as catch can, but all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I believe I saw Arthur Fillo. Please come on up. Good evening. Thank you, sir.
Name is Arthur Fillo, 5 Sharon Drive in Coventry. Been a resident of Coventry since 1983. Been involved in various sports organizations, other studies for the facilities enrollment for the schools, and have been kind of laying low for the last few years, not doing too much, but with all the goings on, listening to a lot of people, and I said it might be a good time to try to get involved in politics again, and just as a base entry, figured I'd get out and try to learn the charter. And that's
Thank you very much.
my reason.
Bless you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's see, Allison Albert. See if she shows back up. Is Brad Inman here? I don't think I saw him. All right. How about Ronald Flynn? I saw. Hello, sir. No stranger to public service. Good evening.
First, I'd like to thank you all for what you do. It's much different on that side. So I'm Ronald Flynn, 21B Calvin Town Road, 4 generations in the town. My little granddaughter will be the 4th. Started this journey in 2004, sat on the personnel board, got elected for Central Fire Board in 2017, and I recently stepped down from a 19-year stint on planning, last 7 as chairman. So I realize how much the charter means. Housing is a big thing that's happening. In the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of housing development, and it's coming. We have sewer and water. We're going to see some dense projects. And I went through just about every ordinance in the last 2 years to conform with state law. And we have to do that with the charter also. So that's about it.
Absolutely. Very true. Vice President Brown.
Yeah, I got a question. Certainly, Ron, you're an outstanding individual in our town, and the service that you have given to the town since 2004 and 19 years as the Planning Commission. Certainly you should be on the charter review, but I think it's time that we, Madam Clerk, put together a proclamation for his service to the town of Coventry on the commission, because I don't think that ever happened. And
I did get one.
You did from the town?
Yes, Doug
Okay.
McLean. The reason I felt good about leaving,
And
had
that
some
came before council? That
no,
proclamation?
not from council,
No,
but I got it
think
from
it should
planning.
come from us.
And then, and it was, my hair stands up in my arms because that's not what I was
And,
there
and
for.
Grant, I understand that, but
But
Thank-
I appreciate that, Chief.
I would like to see it myself. Thank you, Ron.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed your time away.
Scared me.
Yeah.
If I'm here in 25 years, I.
Ah, come on. Yeah, see, there you go. Your proclamation's ready. There are the balloons. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, I saw him. Where is he? Dave Tate. There he is. He did, didn't he? Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. I'm going to submit a little bio to the secretary. I could read it, but we might be here longer. So I'll guess I'll just do a brief. My name is David Tate. I live at 2688 Harkney Hill Road, which is the western end. I just recently retired from the state of Rhode Island. I know half the committee pretty well. I was involved in you being here somehow in your elections. Let's see, I'm a veteran and I have no experience in charter, but I'm looking forward to having that opportunity to bring forth what we need to keep rolling. I've been involved in the town civics for a long time since I worked here, since I moved here. I moved here about 13, 14 years ago, and I've resided at my residence with my partner, Brian, and let's see, what else do I got here? And I guess that's it for now, making it brief. Thank you very much for having me here in front of you, and I hope to be working with all of you.
Thank you. Congrats on the retirement, and thank you. Thank you for.
Long time coming. Long time.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Is Andrew Para here? Okay. Jennifer Lamont.
Mr. President, Andrew
Oh.
did email us saying he couldn't make it tonight.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Lamont, 275 Hopkins Hollow Road, also out in the western end. I'm new to politics. This is something that I have not been involved in before, but I find it to be a very interesting road to go down. I have more than 20 years of leadership experience in operations, compliance, policy implementation, and I've also worked professionally with state levels of government in my job now to help with changing difficult things into easy things to read for people who are training and understanding how to do that type of stuff. I believe I did send in my bio and my resume with my application, so you should have that. But that's the real main reason behind why I want to do this is I find it interesting. I also don't know much about the charter, but I really want to learn about it more, and that's why I'm exploring this.
If only you had already started on this before we had tonight's discussion and you could explain these things to us. So that's a great set of skills to have on something like this. So I find that will be very helpful. So thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much. Appreciate your interest. Who else? Cheryl Kane, come on up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Cheryl Kane, 185 Reed Schoolhouse Road. I did send in a resume also, but I'm just going to read what it says. I am interested in serving on the Coventry Charter Review Committee because I have a longstanding commitment to the town of Coventry and a deep understanding of how local government operates. I was employed by the town of Coventry for 33 and a half years, serving in the town clerk's office, finance department, and tax assessor's office. Through these roles, I gained extensive experience with municipal administration, public records, budgeting and finance procedures, taxation matters, and to the day-to-day implementation of town policies and ordinances. This background has given me valuable insight into how the town charter affects both municipal operations and residents. I believe I can contribute practical knowledge, institutional experience, and a thoughtful perspective to the review process. I would approach the responsibility with professionalism, fairness, and a commitment to ensuring the charter continues to serve the best interests of the Coventry community. Thank you, and I hope that we get to work together. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So now the question is on process. Do we nominate each one at a time? Does the council want to revisit or take anything else, or good to go? And we can make appointments at the next one too. What's the quorum situation look like? Let's say they wanted to have a meeting. Do you need all members seated?
No, you've got, once you have a quorum of 9, you'd have a committee.
So they can still continue with operations, elect a chair and all that. Let's just say, because it sounds like we're thinking, the people who showed up tonight, go ahead, and then next meeting, if we want to add a couple more.
I think the council should be appointing them as quickly as possible, all 9. That's my advice. I don't think it should be dragged on. I understand, and that's good reason you appoint who you have here, and then the very next meeting.
Can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I think all you guys are really great. I know some of you, I know the king over there. I think he knows a lot about the charter. And I think for you people that are here that don't know a lot about the charter, you're going to learn a lot from Mr. Guthrie. So I make a motion that we appoint everyone that is here that put an application in to be a part of this commission. Oh, yes. Who wasn't here?
Scott Guthrie, Susan Morris, Arthur Thillo Jr., Bradford Inman, Ronald Flynn, David Tate, Jennifer Lamont, and Cheryl Kane. I'm sorry. Scratch Bradford Inman. Ronald Flynn I added. So we have Scott Guthrie, Susan Morris, Arthur Philo Jr., Ronald Flynn, David Tate, Jennifer Lamont, and Cheryl Kane.
Oh, yeah, that was
Right.
motion.
So that was a motion from Councilman Hool to nominate,
No, that was me.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Capaldi's nomination. And a second to nominate those 7 folks here tonight so we can get the ball rolling. I'm sorry, to appoint the 7 members listed, or 7 applicants listed. In that case, we can keep the charter review process moving forward. As we stated, there'll still be 2 more slots, but it won't wait on progress with that, and we will appoint as those come in. So that's the first and second. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
To the 7 of you that were appointed, can you just come see the clerk to fill out some paperwork? Thank you.
Yeah, bring your licenses and social security numbers.
Terms of appointment? Oh, okay.
Nice.
Thank you again, everyone who has volunteered for this. This is wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's either TSA or RDA. All right, which item is that one?
Mr. President, just so you know, I know there's 2
Hearing.
items left. Mr. Eden and Ms. Salvatore here regarding TSA, and we have our attorney, Tanessa Azar and Sarah Sklar on Zoom for the RDA. So your preference.
Nope, that's good. Thank you very much. So looks like we're going to move over to item 3. That's a public hearing. One dealing with the RDA and the other one with the TSA. So we'll get into what those acronyms are and what they mean for the town. Item A. Actually, first, let's open up a public hearing. Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion, we open public hearing.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? It's going to be part of the hearing. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Mr. President, just to review, so tonight is the second hearing on the ordinance along with the vote, and also it's a continuation of the public hearing on the RDA plan itself. I know there were a couple of questions regarding the RDA plan and the resolution. Regarding the comments and the questions that we had, like I said, we do have Sarah here from GZA, and Tanessa is also here from Moses Ryan, one of our subcontracting attorneys. And I think she may be able to give you some perspective on some of the questions that you had regarding the spaces of the RDA redevelopment plan along with the financing piece. So I think she should probably, start first and kind of give you some foundation.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. I think it's your memo I was reading. That's kind of the major thing that stuck up to me was, under the necessary findings clause, the council must find that the plan is feasible, and it, goes on to say about the funding piece. We cannot approve a plan without addressing financial implications. The council must provide for such funds in connection with the approval. So that's obviously the part that scares me the most, and just as far as priorities in the town and some of the big numbers we saw, please, if you could kind of get into what that actually means for us pragmatically.
Sure. Good evening. Tanessa Azar from Moses Ryan. Just to give a little bit of background, like we said, we provided you guys a little bit of guidance over the findings that need to be made to approve a redevelopment plan that's brought before you. Some of them I think are more easily addressed than others. One is generally that the plan is feasible, and then that kind of goes hand in hand with a separate requirement that you discussed, which is under Rhode Island General Law 453214, which basically says that if there's going to be town expenditures for the plan, that the funds must be provided in connection with the approval. There's some other ones as well, conforming with the comprehensive plan, carrying out the plan, promoting public health, safety, morals, things of that nature, effectuating the purposes of the Redevelopment Act. It seems like you guys are more comfortable with those, and it's really the financing, and then obviously that ties into the feasibility. So it is a finding that has to be made. You can't approve a plan without that finding of feasibility, and you need to have properly address the financial implications at the time of approval. Now, it's not a great answer, but I think we need a little more time to dig into the actual phrasing and the confirm that you've met that standard. We put this together kind of with the assumption that the data you'd gather from the hearing and the plan would meet the requirements of the statute for approval. Now there's a little bit more question of, well, we're looking at some of the details of what does it actually mean to address the financial implications? Is it enough to say, okay, we're applying for these grants, okay, we're going to get some bonding? We want to make sure and do a little more research into exactly what needs to be said in your approval and backed up in the plan to make sure that you can successfully make that finding. So, like I said, it's not always the answer everybody wants, but we want to dig into it a little bit and make sure that you guys can make that. Under the regulations in the statute, you have to get your hearing started. But if you need more time to evaluate these kind of things, you have the ability to do that. And so our recommendation is that you take that time and we fully craft an approval ordinance and include language that we make sure ties it up with a bow that the finding can be met. So, I mean, in the agreement, in the plan itself, you've got all of Section 7 that goes through potential funding sources of how we can get this done, and it continues on from there. So the implementation section in Section 8 and all the costs, we just want to make sure that you're meeting the standard, and we need a little more time to dig into that. But I'm happy to take any questions you have, like I said, and we can do some fact finding and see how we can make sure that these standards are going to be met.
Yeah,
I think
no,
the other
that-
ones are a
that's-
little bit easier.
Yeah,
based on your
that's exactly it.
recommendations.
Yeah,
Yep, go ahead.
and we do have. I missed it the first go around, but we did. I think Councilwoman Capaldi brought this up. Did you see we got the memo from the Planning Commission? So hearing their input and
Yep.
like you said, feasibility on its own is one thing. Feasibility tied to finance is a whole other construct. So I appreciate you breaking that down like that. And certainly, yes, we could say, sure, we're going to ask for a congressional earmark. We're going to apply for things, but it's that real hook that we don't want to put ourselves on, especially being this early in the game and the game changes, the plan changes. So we appreciate you understanding that. Councilman Pasqua?
I think that the problem that we are running into right now is that this redevelopment plan was created with the idea of a TIF district in the first place, and that was kind of what they thought they were going to have for funding, and that's generally what these RDA plans encompass, which TIF district was a bad idea from the get-go, in my opinion. So we've got to look at the funding mechanisms, and I think we should also really take a hard look at possibly enacting a dam management district sooner than later in that area as well. That's something that needs to happen just so we can finance major infrastructure repairs for that area. The people in that region have, in my area, have said over and over again that they wanted a dam management district. They wanted some type of stake in the game in a sense to be able to help out. So.
And that's interesting because that may help if we can actually put numbers to a concept like that. That'll help us towards the feasibility component, which connects to the financing component. So thank you for that. Good point. Did you have something? Councilwoman Ionati?
So, I'm going to bring up what I brought up last time about the eminent domain, because it said on the fine print, itself says the legal characterization should be confirmed by RDA counsel, but before being relied upon as a formal legal position. So right now it's saying that the RDA could make up their mind about the eminent domain. And I'd like Attorney Igliosi to look into that for us, because that
I haven't been involved in this plan or this legal aspects.
So-
I'm outside counsel doing that, but if you want me to, I certainly will.
yeah,
So Mr. Williams provided that, Councilwoman. Did you see the memo
Yes.
Mr. Williams provided?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
it was-
Sarah's on the
memo-
line too.
The memo concedes the RDA does hold eminent domain power inside the boundary. And adding acquisitions later only requires a plan modification and a much lower profile process than tonight's adoption. The protection residents are being offered is only as durable as the plan staying unamended. So we should amend the ordinance to state that any future plan modification, adding property acquisition requires a new advertised public hearing before the full council. This is to protect the people seeing we went outside the umbrella so that they know, because the RDA has that right. So I'd like to see some formal written legal in that to protect the town's residents in their properties.
If I can chime in, the council does retain powers related to the amendment. And Sarah, you can jump in if you'd like as well.
Yes, that's what Mr. Williams was speaking last time, is that ultimately that still lies with the town council, whether the RDA recommends that or not, that still has to go through town council approval. That doesn't just mean that a property is being taken because the RDA says so. So we made that, or at least we thought we made that clear in that memo. We are happy to clarify again, but very clearly it states that this still has to go through town council.
So backing up to, a few of the different ways this can go, it's like, approve, reject, amend, that would be under the amend category, maybe if we wanted to strengthen that language, to your point, and then on top of that, it would still come through us anyway, if I'm understanding it.
Yeah, and there is some discretion over once it's with the council. It's a little bit unclear in the statute whether you have to have a hearing. You could certainly say that you'd like to have a hearing, but no matter what, it comes to the council. So you could kind of do a hybrid where you already have that right, but you state that you want to have the hearing.
But the memo
explicitly.
says that eminent domain power inside the boundary of 4532.5, 4532.24 is under the RDA, does hold the eminent domain power. That's what it says. So I'd like it to be clear.
Councilman Pasqua.
Everything the RDA does and executes has to be ultimately approved by the town council as the full governing body. They can have a plan, they can say they want to do something, they can make votes to do something, but the town council has the ultimate authority.
But
It
the
has to go through them.
wording says, so I'd like the legal wording to be changed correctly, because as I'm reading it, it said the RDA does hold eminent domain power. That's a legal wording.
It does.
So we need to change that.
Well, that's state law. The RDA has eminent domain power, state law, when has an approved redevelopment plan, but that plan has to go through the council to be approved.
Yeah, I
not
think
just
it's
the
not telling the
RDA.
whole story. It's giving you,
The plan would have to say, parcel X is proposed for acquisition through eminent domain by the redevelopment agency. And then you as a council would approve that plan, which would then give them the power that's listed within the plan. But if the plan doesn't call out specific parcels,
Right, which it does not at all. We did not specify that whatsoever. Same with the financing mechanism, which I also did want to speak to because we had submitted a separate memorandum that was privileged and confidential to the RDA. And I had also believed that it was submitted to the council as well about our backup financials to support what we had provided in the plan. So if that memorandum did not make it to the town council, I would really appreciate the opportunity to resend that because that is an important component. It was not on public record and was with the RDA as privileged and confidential.
I'd still like council advice on this. I don't know where we could do that.
Do that, Councilman.
great. Councilman Hull?
I have two things. I was under the impression that RDA could only do what the council assigns them to do, that they can't create their own projects. Is that accurate? So they couldn't even insist, and we can clean the language up.
But
That's
it says
fine.
it in here that they have the.
Yeah,
So we
but
need to clean that.
it's like they're countering each other.
So I want to.
So I'm fine with that. My biggest issue here is we have a plan in front of us we have how many attorneys involved, how much money involved, and we don't have a funding mechanism. Councilman Pascua just mentioned this plan was designed for a TIF district. Has anyone seen one in town? I'm searching for a friend because I don't see one, but I'm looking at a plan that was designed for one.
It wasn't part of GZA's responsibility to establish a TIF district.
I didn't say it was GZA's. I didn't say it was yours. I didn't say it was ours. I'm just saying that this plan was designed for a TIF district that we don't have.
But this gives
So if the
options
TIF
as opposed to
district,
just the TIF
but if the
district.
TIF district funds the mechanism in which your plan was based on, if the
But it is
district-
not, and that's why there are the options in there, and this is
And
by
when
no
did
way
you
means
send that confidential form, that confidential email over to RDA? And why
I
not
can
the
s-
council, especially with the plan in front of us tonight? It would have been out of the 100 and
Absolutely,
something.
no, I'm very sorry for that misunderstanding. Again, we were sending through different channels. We sent through the RDA, and then it was sent to the town manager as well, but the RDA was supposed to also transmit that when they transmitted the redevelopment plan. So I'm
And
very
they may
sorry if
have,
that got lost.
but again, like it should have came over tonight.
I can resend that. I'm sure I have it. I'm sure it's been sent prior to. There's just a lot of documents
Yeah,
right
we
now
can-
flying around.
Yep, Councilman Pasqua.
And just so I can clear up a little bit of confusion that may be happening here about TIF district and the redevelopment plan. The redevelopment plan had a known cost to it. And the councils in the past were basically assured that the cost for said plan would be the method of a TIF district, which I adamantly opposed. And so not much thought was given to that part of it. This is why we're having this conversation right now. And everybody's like, how do you pay for it? Because this conversation was decided by prior council that the way to go was the TIF district, which is not. It's a bad deal for the entire town of Coventry to do that. And I've said that, and I wrote in crayon so I could try and explain it. And so I'm glad we have determined that it is not the feasible way to go. And we should look at grant money, congressional spending, and you know, the DEM grants. I mean, there's a lot of funding sources for this, but we're starting to now have to look for those things. And we do need to flip those rocks over and look for this stuff. So I think, you know, adopting a redevelopment plan is very important. We need to get this public access done, but we need to now look at other funding sources, which could include grant funding and so on and so forth. And that's what I meant by this plan was designed for TIF district. It was, that was the understood source back then, and nobody ever really looked out otherwise.
Yeah, I think
And
that
as
was,
we dug
you know,
further, we realized that that was not necessarily the mechanism that was appropriate for this, which is why we gave multiple mechanisms for the town to explore. And again, this is a planning and policy framework and not a capital spending plan authorization. This is ultimately up to the town to determine which projects they want to pursue when, which is why there's a short-term, medium-term, long-term with the recommendations, and then which mechanisms are appropriate for the town council, town to determine, and which projects will move forward.
So this is all, you know, good discussion up until this point because, you know, I think everybody's got valid points, and then all of a sudden we did have the plan kind of presented to us. And now it's almost like, all right, well, you know, we got the number in general, what we think it's going to be, and that was a good part of the plan. We've got the area or, you know, of the map and all that kind of out of the plan. You know, we have elements in the plan that we think would be good for the recreation part. So again, we're kind of circling back to the original things we have to do. Is it feasible? Well, it's feasible if we have the money. Now, let's talk about the financing part, which is kind of what we're doing tonight. This might be a good time for us to put together maybe a cafeteria of options. You know, if we do just say, you know, for intents and purposes, for fun, we're going to do a dam district. You know, how many residents? What would the rate be? Yada yada. Just to give you an idea. And then we would basically put together other options. We'll seek federal earmarks. We'll seek grants from DEM. We'll seek XYZ. We'll look into loan from infrastructure bank, you know, and so on and so on. I think once you put the options out on the table, at least give us things to discuss. All of those things, of course, are not guaranteed. So there's obviously some risk in there. And I think, again, this circles back to that, the piece that our other attorney was talking about with the feasibility of the financing in general and actually how spelled out that has to be, because I think that's going to be very important at the end of the day, is exactly what we have to actually put ourselves on the hook for, you know, as far as the diligence for the legal side of things, and then just what could we even possibly promise to pay for, given our financial situation right now without a huge bucket of money. You know, we would just be, you know, writing a check we don't have. So
I think too, it's important that obviously the reason for the redevelopment plan is to satisfy the judge in the lawsuit. So that's also part of why this was kind of sent the RDA way, is to fulfill that designation of recreational space and opportunity. And then now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of, okay,
That's it.
great, but how are we going to fund it? So I think you're right.
no, we didn't realize that was the fun part. Just while we're all over here, anybody, public hearing want to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilwoman Capaldi.
Who is going to be tasked with researching all of these funding opportunities? Is it going to be our grant writer that we have? Or who does this? RDA?
Well, GZA kind of laid out what the opportunities are.
But someone has to go and start calling and talking and
Yeah, look, congressional directed spending is once a year. So that's one opportunity. Obviously, we can decide to go out the bond to the taxpayers.
So who's responsible? I want to know whose responsibility. Is it the finance director?
No, it's probably mine.
It's yours. Okay. Just curious on who does this.
Just to even give us some ballparks to get the, you know, let's say even just pie in the sky dam district. Okay, how many residents? What would it be? How much would it bring in? All right, that gives us 20% of the pie, you know, and then just to even give us an idea. While that's happening, our attorneys from Moses Ryan, I believe, she was going to dig in deeper as to what we're actually on the hook for, because it's all well and great to approve the plan. What I don't want slipped in there is, oh yeah, we approved the plan, and by doing so, we also put us on the hook for 10 million. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Councilman Basque?
Sorry.
I think just, you know, one point of clarification that I would like to see is that, and maybe this is an executive session question, because it has ties to the litigation we have going on right now, but I'd like clarification that if we attain public access in another form, is that going to suffice rather than going through this particular process? I mean, ultimately, if we get the people what, you know, they need, which is access to the reservoir, which we all want them to have, does it really necessarily need a certain vehicle to be that?
Yeah, so I was speaking to Tanessa about this today, and I don't think we're limited to just those two options in the plan currently. I think as long as there are properties within the boundaries that have been set by RDA, by the RDA plan, if there are other opportunities outside of behind DPW and Sherman Park, those are viable options as long as they're within the boundaries of the plan.
Well, I get what you're saying, but I guess my question is, if the town council acted in their own power outside of the RDA and achieved some form of access that did not have anything to do with the RDA or its plan, but it still gave the residents access to the reservoir or boat ramp or what have you, how would, my question would be, does that not satisfy the courts? And again, that's probably a backroom question because it's part of litigation.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
think
sure David
it's worth
can
having.
answer that better, but I would think that as long as, because the RDA is not being, they weren't part of the lawsuit with the town of Coventry. So I think as long as we satisfy public space, however we do it through the RDA or through the council, I think it's satisfied.
Right.
That's my non-legal opinion.
And the RDA only has development rights. They don't own the reservoir.
All right. Anyone like to come up and make any public comments on the topic? Good evening. Welcome.
Brittany Boyer, 318 Town Farm Road. I'm really concerned about this plan. I am the chair of the RDA. I'm the only one who voted no on this plan. I voted solely based on the cost and no plan being put out for the cost. The first legislative determination in the resolution states that the plan is feasible. I don't believe it is. We're talking about millions of dollars that the town simply doesn't have. Whether the project is completed all at once or in phases, we can't come up with millions of dollars to do this. The fifth legislative determination says the plan contains adequate provisions for any expenditure of money by the town. To me, adequate provisions would include things like a clear budget, a funding source, a timeline of expected costs, a plan demonstrating the town can meet these financial obligations without placing undue burden on the taxpayers. This was not the taxpayers' choice. We cannot put this on the back of the taxpayers. We can't afford it. We want to do this at the same time we're having the fight about the fire department. We can't afford it. Every time the budget comes across, the budget's higher. I understand that's life, but we can't afford it. We can't afford any more. We can't afford $100 more a month. We can't afford $60 more a year. We can't afford any more. We're just done. Everybody has had it with this. The RDA was not taken seriously by a lot of people. That is definitely the way that I felt. We have no powers. We had no powers. We can't do anything unless we're told to do it. I have a lot of people reaching out to me as the chair to the RDA, wanting me to do things with this leftover money that I can't do until I'm told I can do it. We're going to throw that away. We have probably plus or minus $150,000, $170,000 sitting in those ARPA funds. I would do anything with those, anything. I would send them to Meals on Wheels. I would send them to, I don't care, anything. Why? I don't want to give them back to the state. We're throwing it away. We can't waste that. We need to have this financial plan come out clear, and it cannot go on the back of the taxpayers. That is something it cannot do. If it's going to go back to the taxpayers to fund this multi-million-dollar plan, then we failed. We failed everybody. The Conservation Commission recommended developing a lake management plan. Ironically, the RDA was prepared to vote on that using ARPA funds and pay for one, but the meeting couldn't happen because 2 of the 4 members didn't attend, leaving us without a quorum. There is still roughly, like I said, about $150,000 to $170,000 sitting there. Let's spend it on something that matters. Give us something to do with it. The Conservation Committee also recommended stepping up grant writing efforts and specifically noting that department managers and directors should not be the one writing grants. And I agree with that. It takes so much time. I have wrote tons of grants for my nonprofit, and if you knew how much time it takes to write one, it's unbelievable. We have a dedicated grant writer in the budget. Why isn't she doing these? Where is she? Why are we not putting that on her? That's her job. Dan and Doug and Kevin, they have so much on their plate. Put the grants to the grant writer. I also have an email from Sarah, and the last time Sarah from GZA emailed me was on May 7th. She said, attached are the 2 versions of the redevelopment plan to transfer to town council. And I immediately went ahead and transferred those over to JP. Everything included in that email, and JP said, I'll go ahead and loop in, President Berducci. And he said he was going to loop in Vice President Brown, and I did my part. So to hear, a third-party company say that maybe I just didn't send what I was supposed to, I sent you guys everything she sent me, and my last correspondence with GZA was May 7th. I've heard nothing from anyone since. It's been crickets. That's how things have been going with the RDA. That's how I feel about putting this off. I think we need to spend some serious time looking into the districts that Councilman Pasqua has been talking about. I think that's important. And I'm going to say one more time, this multi-million-dollar plan, whether it be done in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, is not the responsibility of the taxpayers to pay for. We did not ask for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to come up? Come on up and welcome.
Richard Williams, 2980 Flat River Road, Coventry. Not every resident of the town is interested in Flat River Reservoir, and that's the name of it. It's not Johnson's Pond. It's Flat River Reservoir. I've been here all my life, and not everyone's interested in certain people's recreation, and it's going to take our homes away and everything possibly, because it's going to be overpriced for everybody else in the town, the taxpayers. Not everyone wants it. The people should be taught to in this, not just the town council, not just the developers. The people of the town should have a say, not just that. Okay, I guess that's my say for now. But I should say one other thing. My mother's maiden name was Johnson. We've been here a long time. That bridge over near Zeke's Bridge, that's named after one of my relatives. So we've been here a long time. And there's one other thing. This whole development is going to change the character of the town too. We won't be a town anymore. It'll destroy the town because it'll change the character. We'll be more like a circus. Okay, that's what I say. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're in public hearing for kind of both these items right now, TSA and Johnson's Pond. So if you want to talk on those, we're going to do public comment, the regular version too later.
Okay, this is documented items, right?
No, this
Or is
is
it both?
public hearing for RDA and Johnson's Pond stuff.
Is this for 3B?
Yep.
Okay, so the Conservation Commission wrote a letter on July 1st where the RDA plan for Johnson's Pond, they had visions and goals. And one was a timeline for each goal. This idea of kicking the can, the timeline with the goals is going to put everything in order. And then they're also saying about the grant writing. There is a grant writer that we pay every month. And my question is, what are they doing? Are they just taking the check and run? I don't see them writing any grants, and I see all the department heads having to fend for themselves. We pay someone to do a job. We should be getting the services that we're paying for. Now, is this all lumped into 3C also, or no? Okay. The Center of New England, the Tax Stability Agreement. 5A, stabilize tax payments in lieu of all real property and assessments during stabilization tax period. Then if you go all the way to the end at the packet agenda, you're going to see Exhibit A. Year 1 is $286 a unit. Year 15 is $4,400 a unit. The residential taxpayers take on the burden of the shortfalls and the infrastructure. My question is, why award drastic relief to Stock Capital? They know the project costs prior to the project, then seek financial relief to boost their profit margin. Meanwhile, the resident taxpayers absorb the shortfalls and increases. Remember, the residents vote, not the builders. Point taken. The builders don't vote. Taxpayers do.
Anybody else in chambers with that would like to speak?
Steve Riley, 5 Osprey Drive. I thought after the 23rd meeting that there were a few nails in the coffin on the idea of TIF district, but the one thing that I'd still like to hear, and I've written to you about it, is Mr. Moses' comments now that a redevelopment plan is before us. Ms. Azar accompanied Mr. Moses at the April 5th, 2025 joint meeting. And at that time, Mr. Moses said he couldn't really tell or give a proposal because he didn't know what the plan was. Well, we know what the plan is now, and that, based upon what Councilman Pasqua said, is how this was conceived. I'd like to know what their thoughts are now. We know what Mr. Williams suggested in his public statements at the 23rd meeting. So that's one item. Second item I'd like to address is the idea of the public hearing. This is very nebulous. The first reading was at the 23rd. We're having another public hearing. I'm curious from a point of order standpoint is when I can submit written public comments to address issues that I've had for the last year and a half, which our former solicitor had said can only be submitted at a public hearing, as opposed to what I've been doing for the last couple of years. So I'd like to know when that public hearing is going to be. Finally, if I could just say on ordinance 2026-20, it says, whereas the town council held a duly noticed public hearing on June 23rd, 2026, in accordance with the notice requirements of general laws 4532-4. I assume the June 23rd was just a placeholder for a draft copy for the reading. But my concern here is that if you go to 4532-4, it says the notice shall be published not less than once a week for 3 consecutive or 3 successive weeks prior to the hearing in a newspaper of general circulation published in the community, or if no newspaper is published in the community, then a newspaper of general circulation in the community. Point being, if I looked at the July 8th, today's paper, the reminder, there's nothing mentioning ordinance 2026-20. And if I go back several weeks of the Rhode Island reminders, it's not there either. So this is a requirement as part of this whole redevelopment of blighted and substandard legislation. And it's something that we're going to have to comply with. If you look in here, the Planning Commission uses the Rhode Island reminder for everything that they have going on in accordance with their protocol. Lastly, if I could just address my concerns based upon Chairwoman Boyer's comments that they're kind of without the benefit. Mr. Williams, on every one of his slides practically had lake management study as a requirement. It's a water quality. We did this redevelopment plan based upon blighted and substandard area legislation, and there's not $1 in there. There's estimated dollar costs. I can tell you, if you go to the estimated capital costs, you're going to see dam property, where am I? Sorry. Stormwater retrofits and water quality. That's $11 million. That's not talking anything about the water, or that's talking only about this, nothing about the redevelopment plan. And I believe that the grants that Mr. Williams talked about were regarding the recreational improvements, nothing to do with that. The Conservation Commission recommended the EPA-approved 9-point lake management plan. And that's what is actually required if the town, as the steward, is going to go out and seek EPA funds for stormwater improvement. And with this $11 million, and I tell you, I'm sure Mr. Levesque, the town engineer and the MS4 coordinator for the state for Coventry, is got his hands full with Coventry. And you can just, if you attended the Breezy Lake meeting by Zoom back on the 28th, or it might have been the 30th, you see the amount of work that goes into this stormwater quality and effort. And we're going to get to a point where we're talking the dam management district and the benefits that a collaborative association between the town and the Johnson's Pond residents, but we're not there yet. And I'd just like to see, we need the lake management plan approved. Chairwoman Boy is suggesting that there's an issue in how she gets it accomplished. I've written you, it's up to you folks. Make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. We need the lake management plan. I think a lot of us do. We have the money. I know the timing is tight, but you know, at that last meeting, we probably would have gotten a recommendation from the RDA if that meeting had happened. So, you know, I just don't want anybody to be under the impression we're ignoring that part of it. We can talk to our town manager about procurement for that. I know it's a tight time window. I even went and checked our MPAs to see if there was a quicker way to do it. You know, it's just a very technical service, so it's hard to get it kind of out on the open market through the state's procurement system. So it would need to be a short window kind of bid, and I don't know how long they take to actually do. It may be shorter than maybe we initially thought. The big point, and you know, I'm glad Chairwoman Boyer brought this up, is that money needs to be spent completely by the end of December for those ARPA funds. So that's the timeline we're looking at. If that's something we can feasibly do, put out to bid, get the work done, and get it paid by 12/31/26, I think it's important to have for many reasons on the actual functionality. But if we're going to sit here and be honest about talking of seeking grants and other mechanisms, that is probably a precursor to getting any of those grants, is they want to see that you already have a management plan. So if we can get it now for nothing before those funds expire, I fully support that. So I just wanted to clarify that. I think a lot of folks up here see that there's a need for the plan. So we have been listening, and we're going to look at it.
Is it possible to get a emergency meeting to approve that?
Yeah, we'll check on what the procurement aspect is, and then yeah, however we have to do it. You know, if the RDA has to meet, if they have a quorum issue, perhaps we can do it here instead, and we'll work it all out with the solicitor. But I just wanted you to know that that's not something we blew off. Getting it done now with the money that's already there, I'm with.
But
We don't want to throw it out.
Mr. Williams expressed, he recommended that a study be done on recreational carrying capacity, my term. And we're already almost mid-July. As you say, after Labor Day, the pond's a different place.
Nope, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Anyone else in the room or on Zoom want to talk? We are on public hearing. We are on agenda item 3, A, B, and C. All right. Not seeing anybody else there. So what's left for us tonight? It looks like we have some more work to do on the legal side, as far as a little bit more digging in, I believe Tanessa said we were going to do on the
I think
feasibility
we should
financing.
continue the ordinance to the 28th meeting along with the RDA plan approval. So those two parts that we continue to today, continue both of those A and B to the 28th.
Feels like this always happens. I'm not and
Continue the public hearings.
I was going to say, we're still in the public hearing anyway, right? For the,
But the public hearings have to be continued to a date certain in order
Mhm.
to continue to maintain statutory.
is that going to be, do we need to do that separately for A, B, and C? Because I think we're going to have the,
For A and B.
okay, so we need to do it as we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll make a motion to continue A and B. Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing for ordinance number 2026-20 and public hearing continued on the Johnson's Pond redevelopment plan to the July 28th meeting.
Councilman Pasqua?
Are we going to have enough time to get the answers we need on funding questions by the 28th? I mean, would it be prudent to go a meeting later on this?
I mean, we'll have the funding options, but I mean, to say we're going to have a grant by July 28th, no. We're going to have a bond by July 28th, no. But we'll have the opportunities of what we can go pursue in order to fulfill the RDA plan. I think that's what we're looking to do, because obviously it's a moving target with grants, with the infrastructure bank, with bonding. So I think it's, again, I'm not going to speak for Tanessa or David, but I think it's important that we establish what those funding mechanisms are.
That's,
as
what the
opposed to
actual
saying-
threshold we have to meet for
Exactly,
what
yeah.
we're promising. Because again, we're not putting this on
Yeah.
the majority of taxpayers through just a regular,
Yeah.
function of government with the
And I think
numbers.
Tanessa's going to give the council the wording, if you want to say that, we're going to need to amend the ordinance and the plan to get it to pass muster.
Yeah, if I can chime in, we're gonna look to see, you're evaluating a lot of options. We want to see the level of certainty you need about which options you have, how we can phrase it to make sure the standards met, so that, we can fully evaluate that you can, if the evidence is there, which, after research it should be, that you can make a finding that's legally sufficient and is backed up with enough certainty. So we want to find where that line is, how much certainty you need about each option. Because there's some various options in there, so we need a little more clarity. So we'll have some more information in that time. It might not be the last time you talk about it, but hopefully it should take a jump forward.
Yeah. And you think about 3 weeks is good enough for that if we continue this matter to
That can be the goal. You can always also, that'll be the goal, to get you at least
Okay.
something to move it forward at that date. It might not be the final one if we turns out, all right, if we do some research and you say, all right, we're looking at this path and we need more information about it, I might have come back and done some
Right.
research and said, all right, you need a little more certainty. So
Okay.
the data we find is kind of going to drive the timeline.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. If we find out that the burden is relatively light, then, the options can be more hypothetical than certain. And
Exactly.
the opposite is true as well. Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right. So we had a motion. Did we have a second? Motion to move to the 28th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. So just to recap, that is under items 3A and B, moved to July 28th or continued until July 28th. Sorry, what'd I do wrong? Go ahead.
Wanted the council to be aware, and I know Mr. Williams, Mr. Wiley was asking the question. The original hearing was I believe the town clerk and the manager advertised pursuant to the statutory requirements. And once that's done, as long as you continue, the public hearing is open, it remains open, it continues from hearing to hearing. You don't have to re-advertise.
You don't re-advertise every time.
Mr. Wiley was raised that the advertisement has been done, at least that's my understanding with talking to the clerk and the town manager. The public hearing is open, documents can be received. It continues to remain open until the council closes that hearing and makes a decision. So it goes from meeting to meeting to meeting until you close the public hearing.
Understood. Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. With that, we will move to item 3C. Public hearing on proposed tax stabilization agreement. This is presented to us by Star Capital LLC. Did you want to come up first? Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. For the record, my name is Kelly Morris Salvatore. I'm here tonight with Tim Eden, who is the principal of Star Capital. I thought that we would, you've been introduced to Mr. Eden in the past. He is the developer of Coventry Center as well. I think when we were here asking for a zone change, he did explain a bit about Center of New England. We'd like to, for your benefit and for the benefit of the public, just talk generally about what's happening at Center of New England and then get into the specifics about our request for this tax stabilization agreement.
Thank you.
Good evening.
So it's Tim Eden, 50 Eastover Road, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. And we have been in front of the council, in front of the planning commission for 24 months now with the Center of New England. And this discussion of the RDA is particularly relevant. It says that it's tasked with eliminating, preventing blighted and substandard areas, and revitalizing the town's commercial neighborhood districts. Exactly what we've been trying to do here at Center of New England. So everybody knows where it is and what it is, but I want to just go back what we have accomplished and what we plan to do in the years ahead. So Jackson, if you could go to the next slide, please. Keep going.
We're just going to have him try and blow this up for us with our.
Yeah, that'd be great. So Center New England has been in receivership for about 15 years. It's been fallow. These are former sand and gravel operations. And we got involved to really finish the job. The developer did a remarkable job in 2003, bringing the project to life, putting in the major infrastructure, attracting major tenants, selling pieces of it off for the residential apartments you see in the lower portion of the screen, single-family detached units north of that next to the Walmart, and then up to the upper left, the Highland community, about 230 single-family homes. The last phase of that is under construction. So credit to the former developer for pulling this together, 400 acres, and fell into bankruptcy in 2011. That's no sin. A lot of people did. And unfortunately, the receivership has languished for 15 years. We got involved 2 years ago to bring it to life and finish the job, which is to build out the residential portions that are remaining here of about 100 acres. Two things have happened since we got involved. One was the final top coating of the boulevard, 1.3 miles. It had never been finished. It had always been base coated. It had never been paved completely. We helped the receiver to arrange for the funding for that road work, as well as the completion of the Center of New England Boulevard over the wetland areas. You see it in the left side of the picture there above Amgen. A section was never completed. It's been in the works for 20 years, and it is now under construction. It's supposed to be completed September 1st. So this is all privately funded. And we are in the final stages of getting that road open. Yes, it will take a traffic light on Hopkins Hill. We've been working with the council and with the staff on getting the road completed, getting the traffic signal in, and bringing that to life is going to make a major difference to the traffic patterns in Coventry. It also is going to open up what we see there, lots 2 and lot 3. They're programmed for townhouse development. This is programmed to be for sale housing, and is small, medium, and large. It's going to hit different price points to meet the market that is in Coventry, and we're excited to bring that forward. We do anticipate the site plan submission in about 30 days for the preliminary, and then final site plan submission completion this fall, and we think it's going to have a major impact on the community. On the right of that is parcel 4, 23 acres. That is approved for 350 apartment units. Why? Because we're looking for a balanced community. We have 700 units we got through master plan approval. We can't do it all at once. That is a monumental amount of work. We broke it down into 2 phases. One was for sale and the other rental product. And why rental is important? They're 1, 2, 3 bedroom apartments. It's the lowest cost housing that's available. It appeals to seniors as well as starters, and apartments are critical for the development of communities. All told, our fiscal impact study shows $4 million in annual revenue to the town. And that is gross revenue. There are expenses associated with that, but this is a major economic development initiative. It's privately funded. Today, we're talking about the tax stabilization agreement for our apartments in Lot 4. Jackson, if you could flip to the next slide. Just another glance at the project itself, which shows the individual parcels. So this is 6 different parcels that are subdivided. Utilities are here, roads are here, and we're trying to bring it forward for development. We've had headwinds. We faced a year's worth of delay to make sure we had adequate sewer capacity, and we worked very closely with staff and the consultants to confirm the availability of sewer and the capacity for sewer on Hopkins Hill as well as New London Turnpike. It's been a big task, but I think I think the engineer and the manager have done a great job in making sure that there is adequate capacity, and this project and the other projects that are programmed on this slide can move forward. We also have on the right-hand side, we have Coventry Center, which you all approved. It was approved unanimously in the fall. It's 17 acres approved for retail and multifamily. The multifamily component there, 218 acres. We hope to bring that forward this fall as well. The sewer capacity, we think we're over that. The sewer expenses are high. And that's another appeal that we have made to the council and to the staff, is to bring the sewer connection fees in line with the rest of the state. They're high and they're prohibitively high, so people aren't signing up. So that is a matter that we're going to take up separately. It's not really the subject of tonight, but I wanted to note that Coventry needs to compete, and the sewer connection fees are just simply high, and we're going to address that separately. So the tax stabilization agreement is not a giveaway. It is a phase-in of taxes over a period of time to support the development of apartments. It's a very risky business. It's very expensive. Tax rates are high. Interest rates are high, and construction costs are high, and all that spells trouble for people that try and build apartments like ourselves. It is an institutional game. It's insurance companies and pension funds, but these people are smart, and they can take their money anywhere. They can go to Texas, Florida, South Carolina, or anywhere else. And if the numbers don't work, then we cannot attract the capital. The tax stabilization agreements are a well-worn path in the state of Rhode Island. Almost every town has a tax stabilization legislation, including Coventry, which was passed thanks to the work of Kelly. We introduced and passed legislation at the State House for Coventry to provide tax stabilization agreements. Coventry then approved that legislation. Now we're forward to bring a specific project to fruition here. So we also need to be competitive. If you notice at the bottom portion of the slide there, Jackson, we have the Granville Apartments that was built in 2003. It's 300 units, and it's a mixture of townhouses and apartments, and it is really the major apartment community in the town. It's not even in the town. It's in West Greenwich. But on the slide, that is the major apartment community, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about developing high-quality rental apartments to service the need of the residents. There is a second project that's on the drawing boards right next door to it, right across from the Walmart, and that is called The View. It's in West Greenwich. It's the subject of a 20-year tax stabilization agreement that was passed by the town in December of 2025. The point is that we need to compete, and we have to compete, and Coventry needs to compete for tax dollars and for development dollars, and the money, the investment dollars go where it makes sense. So the tax stabilization agreement is important to phase in the tax expense, which is a real expense to operations, and it can be is prohibitively high at face rates. So that is the purpose of the TSA, and we certainly support the town, and this is an economic development initiative with big impact, and we want to see it forward. We ask for your approval of our TSA.
Just going to follow up on a.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eden. Did you want to
Just
say
a
something?
couple
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
things. He did most of my job for me, but just to add a couple of things regarding the legislation that was passed, and your ordinance allows for up to 20 years. We're asking for 15 years. I wanted to bring to your attention, and again, partly for the public's information, right now you're getting about $18,000 a year on this piece of property. So over the course, the math is about $270,000 for that 15-year period. With this ramp up, you're probably going to get about 14 million instead of the 270,000. This project does not work if we don't get some relief. I also wanted to just bring up that there'll be a significant sewer contribution along with this tax stabilization agreement. And that, the impacts in terms of infrastructure that was brought up during public comment, there will be no trash costs. There will be no new roads. there will be a limited number of students. The developer is handling all of the infrastructure. There's going to be very little cost to the town in terms of day-to-day after this is built. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that you have a dual tax rate, residential and commercial. Even though this is a multi-family residential project, it is taxed at a commercial rate. It is much higher than the residential rate. So eventually, at the end of this tax stabilization agreement, you're going to be taxing this property at commercial rates with very little impact to finances for the town. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Thank you both. I'm going to do my Jennifer Lamont impression here, and I'm going to try to break this down from the way I learned it, which was in very simple terms. So, you know, a lot of the stuff gets talked about, obviously, center in New England, big focus of attention on the town, you know, forever. So we'll start, I think, at the simplest 30,000 foot view. Developers own the property. They have a right to do what they want with it. There's a receivership and other complications here. But, you know, essentially people often say, why doesn't the town council put in this or put in that? You know, something we all learn pretty quick around here is it's not the council's job. We have certain requirements that have to be met by state law. This isn't us choosing to put these things here. Certainly none of us said, you know, Mr. Eden, come in here and build whatever. These are market-driven things, and that's kind of where the direction of the conversation goes later tonight. But just to kind of reset everybody, the developers come in, they are looking to develop this area for what they see as their kind of commercially viable solution for this spot. As part of that, we want to win on our side. They obviously have to make money on their side. So as part of the whole process, you'll see TSA, tax stabilization agreement. Essentially what they're asking for us is a little bit of a break up front to give them time to phase in the taxes. To that, we would say, no, sorry, your problem. You know, we don't care. Just come in here and build. To which they would say, well, you're not getting anything now. We're getting 300 grand. You're going to get 4 million. To which we would then say, yes, but it's $22,000 per student and we need to do X, Y, Z. So, you know, all of this stuff has happened along the way here. This is how it works. So I just wanted to bring that up to clarify some of these things. So, you know, when Mr. Eden came and approached us with this agreement here, that's what we're talking about tonight. A 15-year term, essentially phasing in annual taxes. So, you know, I just wanted to get it all out there on the record that it's a very detailed, finite process with a lot of different mechanisms. Tonight's focus is just that. Do we want to accept the terms of this agreement and move forward in that fundamental direction? Or are there things we would like to ask for? Is there certain relief that the developer would like? So just wanted to set the stage for that. I think it's helpful to let everybody know that this isn't, you know, a lot of times I think we hear a lot of rumors and some other stuff out there. So I just wanted everybody to realize these are how these things come up. It's nobody here picking and choosing what goes in to that. So I'll open it up. Councilman Hull.
Thank you, Council President. And again, it's capitalism. The developer bought the lot. They can come and bring it to us for whatever they see fit. I will think starting at 15 years versus 20 years, I still think 15 years gives me anxiety. I've expressed this before, both publicly and privately. I would never even entertain a tax stabilization agreement for a new development that is longer than 10 years. If we had a blighted mill in town, like the Royal Mills in West Warwick or the Anthony Mills, that would be a different ballgame because we're not clearing land, we're not bringing in new things. That building was there, it's very expensive to remodel, to rehab, and to reuse. These 10 years, Mr. Eden, with all due respect, I think you can still make money with a 10-year TSA. I think you're not gonna make as much as quick, but I still think your risk is a little higher. I do believe that your developers and your investors would still stay in, even at that risk. I think we, as in Coventry, hold something valuable there with our location. You know, like we've all discussed this. We're close to 95. We're centrally located. We can pull from both Quonset all the way up to Smithfield if we needed to. These units, I think, are valuable. I'm a real estate agent and I get crushed for this, and I didn't use the words thank you tonight for coming forward, so nobody clipped something of me thanking a developer for coming to town. But I thank you for at least bringing forward something as a start. I think for me personally, 15 years is too long. I'd like to see 10 years. I want the bridge done. I want you to find some steel and pay for that traffic light. Like, I just want you to do it all. So you're starting at 15. I'd like to come back to 10. I would like you to pay for the traffic light. I want the road open like Mr. McGowan told us when we let him connect to the sewer. I just want it all to kind of come back full circle now at this point. We're close. I know we are. That's just my personal feelings on one person, one vote.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely agree with all that. Myself, I favor the shorter term as well. And you know, a common theme that we hear, and I will say, I appreciate the effort on Mr. Eden's side, because what we've been hearing for as long as I've been around in town is that we're not getting enough out of the developers. And to me, that always means infrastructure, because that is a huge cost, and we're essentially getting some skin in the game from the developer as well here. So just wanted to explain that. Now, that's something that the developer has stated. It's in his plans. And Ms. Salvatore has also made those same kind of assumptions as far as what's not going to hit the town's bottom line. In my opinion, it's interesting that the schools have estimates of population growth. The developer has flat, as far as contributions to schools. That's a tremendous cost that eats up a lot of our budget, and we don't control it. So, there are certain realities here we can't ignore. It's a balancing act, because on one hand, we're getting nothing now. But the 4 million is, as they honestly pointed out, that's a gross number. They said 4. Okay, so the 14 million is, over that period. Yeah, right. And that's a gross number. So, obviously there's a lot of other costs that come with it. So, again, I second that. I'm cautiously optimistic with this. We want to keep very tight control on all the parameters of any agreement as it moves forward. And then again, this is just the first step in the process. Per statute, we have to have this public hearing, and we have to talk about exactly the plan that was given. It doesn't mean we can't amend it or make changes as we go forward. So this is, again, just part of the process. Councilwoman Capaldi.
I am not a real estate agent, so I can say thank you for coming tonight. So I do agree with a lot of what Councilman Hool just said. I too believe that you can do it for a little bit less than 15. Is there a way that we can get numbers for what we would make for 10? Let's get something for 12. We already know what you said for 15.
Yes, we can.
I think that'd be really great. And I mean, this is, maybe give us 12 and throw in the traffic light. I mean, I think we could, we got to get a little bit more on this side. It does make me nervous as well. Are you laughing at me?
Just waiting for you to ask for the Starbucks.
I need a Starbucks. That's all I want. I think I said I wanted that over there.
One of the residents asked for that too. That Starbucks is very popular in Coventry.
And that's kind of what I was getting at the beginning. If only we could all sit here and say, hey, bring in Starbucks. Exactly.
So they need residents.
Right. No.
So
no,
yeah,
it's a
I'd
good
like to
point.
see the different pricing, what we're going to make. And I actually don't know the number, and I know you can't really, 10, 12, 15 years out, we don't know specifically what the taxes would be if there was no tax stabilization.
Your finance director has given you a fiscal.
Can I hear that number?
He can speak for himself, but it's going to be an analysis. It's somewhat of an estimate. It's
Right, because it's not going to be, I just wanted to know that number. If there was no, you don't know, okay.
Gave that all back in May.
Yeah, I know, I'm just asking.
As I mentioned,
I don't remember May, so let's,
as I mentioned, there's various estimates that, go into it. And as you just stated, we don't know what the tax rate's going to be. We don't know what the value of the
everybody in
property's going to
public, this
be.
is an estimate. I'm just trying to, 14 million on something we get $1,800 for is great. It's a lot of money, but I want to see what these earmarks are.
Yeah, we estimated, looking at where it could be without a tax stabilization agreement, we estimated that in 15, over the 15-year period, you could be getting roughly 29 million for the property
Okay.
versus as they're proposing a $14 million. So
Okay.
you're looking at approximately a 50%, discount.
All right. Yeah. So let's get those numbers for a 10-year and a 12-year. And yeah.
There's been many proposals that have gone back and forth. The director prepared some numbers, other numbers for tonight that you have on your desk regarding some different, a newer conversation we've had with Mr. Eden and Kelly. So again, I think the numbers are definitely going back and forth. I think the important thing to know, I won't speak for Mr. Eden, is that, but he does want to lock in the value of the property and also lock in the tax rate. And I think those are the two main parameters, that it's not going to be reevaluated. It's locked in, and then it's going to be over that 10 and 12-year time frame. I think with the agreement that it can't really start until he has something built.
But I only see 15 years here. 15.
Yeah, tonight's just focused on the terms that were presented in the public hearing. Go ahead.
Does that mean I can't ask to get
Oh,
numbers?
yeah. No, that's all part of the process. It's just the reason you don't have them is because that's not tonight's topic. We could do it back of the napkin. Essentially, take those numbers and use 10 instead of 15.
You can. You're a mathematician.
Oh,
so-
yeah, that's me. Vice President Brown, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I don't think anybody that's up here has been more involved with Center in New England than me. 30 years ago, there was a plan that this was going to be a commercial development. The roads, infrastructure was all going to be completed, and that story ended on 9/11. 9/11 happened. All those investors, the world was in a state of flux. They all pulled their projects off the table. So sitting there for all those years as a fire chief and only one road in to that development has been a crisis in this town. And we're lucky that people have not lost their life because of a one-way road. This road needs to be completed at your cost. That traffic light needs to go in at your cost, not the town of Coventry. Because there's a public safety issue down there, and this needs to be completed, and it shouldn't fall on the backs of the taxpayers in this town. I also believe that 15 years is too long. I believe I'm okay with 12. I think 12 works because the first couple of years, you're going to be doing a lot of construction down there, and not a lot's going to be generated from that. So, but this is a big revenue generator to the town of Coventry over that agreement. I agree. We get $18,000 a year now from that development. That's it. It's nothing
For that one site.
From that lot.
from that lot.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you, Tim. From that lot, which is just, that's unbelievable. And once again, the people that come into Center New England now, if anybody goes up there, most of them aren't even from town, because of the access to 95. And we have a lot of people that come in from out of town. But this has been a sore spot in this town for a long time. And like I said, for me personally, because I've seen what it's taken, in the event of people being sick or injured in that property and the timetable it takes to get there. So I implore you to finish the road. And I know the road's going to be finished sooner than what a traffic light's going to show up. So there might need to be a temporary traffic light. And I believe that shouldn't come at the cost of the taxpayers of this town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Councilman Hulu.
Really quick, I just want to add a point there. When you first started coming before us, I researched those lots. They're on LoopNet. They were actively open and for sale. You can't force commercial big box stores in here. They're not rushing to do this anymore. Because, I've heard some slack about why apartments versus a big box store. We'd love it. If someone can find someone to come in and have it, let's do it. I think one of the important things that we're missing out is the assessment, because you don't want us to touch the assessment. You're asking us to freeze the value for the time of the TSA. One of the things that wasn't mentioned is at the end of the TSA, it's going to be like a balloon payment, not so much as a payment, a direct payment, but the full tax assessed value goes into effect the following day after the TSA expires. So although from now to year, whatever that may be, 10 or 12, some members are fine with, that full value will come on year either 11 or 13 for the full tax assessed value, which will it's going to be more than the 14.
Correct.
That's correct.
I just wanted to add that as a.
And just what I forgot to mention is the predictability of the payments, that you'll be able to forecast in your budgeting. You'll know what you're going to get every year, rather than, there were some other formulas that we were discussing, but we think that this is the best formula for both the developer and the town in terms of predictability, knowing what you're going to be getting every year in taxes. So.
Yeah, I think the simplicity factor is helpful too for, the residents to be able to see that this is essentially giving you a little bit of lead time because you're not generating revenue, and it's just kind of what it is, big picture wise. So good point. Councilwoman Ionati.
I'd also like to talk about the fact that the conversation we had the other day with the TSA, if it goes into receivership,
right,
or the nonprofit,
yep,
that we stay, that TSA in the agreement does not get canceled to our town.
Yes, Councilwoman, I did look at the TSA today. The language regarding the tax exempt is in there, but I'm going to work with your solicitor to get the receivership language also in there.
Okay. So that we're solid that can't, okay.
And this is all part of the process. So, we've made it pretty clear up here, our non-starters, road, light, and temporary light. And from your side, you're working on the term as far as 15 versus 10. On our side, we're looking at assessed values and the way that the 10-year plan, 12-year plan transitions and so on. So just kind of keep everybody in the loop here. This is, you're just kind of watching us tell them what we want, and they're telling us what they could want. So we'll just keep going at it, and this is how it gets hammered out in public. Go ahead, Councilman.
I do actually agree with Council Vice President Brown's 12 years for the 2 years of non-construction. I didn't, because technically the 10-year would have turned into an 8-year, which probably would have become unfeasible from 20 to 8. So
to be clear, the tax stabilization agreement as proposed has a construction period, and the tax stabilization agreement would begin, so year one would be when a CO is issued. Because again, the assessment isn't going up until the first CO is issued. So,
but we need some incentive for you to get the CO.
right. So in the tax stabilization agreement that you have, it has a cap of 5 years. We don't expect it to be 5 years.
5 plus the 15 that you're asking for, which is 20.
Right now it is.
That gives me too much anxiety, Kelly.
We're going to look at that. Yes, we're going to look at that.
I'm like sweating already. 20 years, come on.
All right,
Appreciate
take
you
this
guys,
candy away. He's sweating. No, good points, because these are all idiosyncrasies of these kinds of things. Because you can't do everything in 1 year and be complete across all the development. So there's going to be some phasing here. So the question becomes, if it takes you 3 years to get through this phase, do you then restart the clock? And so on. So that's when a 10-year or 12-year agreement can essentially become a 15-year or 18-year agreement. So another great important point, and again, looking to protect the town from kind of a more extension than what we think we're agreeing to. And then to Councilwoman Ionati's point, making sure this agreement can't be transferred to someone else who we haven't actually negotiated with and don't have skin in the game. So good stuff all around.
It should run with the land.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I keel over tomorrow, somebody else will pick it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Tax exempt, and we totally understand the receiver issue.
Yep. Great.
It also isn't uncommon in the development world for developers to start a project and maybe move on to something else, refund it out, resell it, whatever it is. Them guys are all working numbers, so to me, it should run with the land. It should be deed restricted with the land, and that gets transferred over to.
Proposed agreement says that now.
Can't change the agreement from owner to owner. The new owner, if Mr. Eden were ever to sell, they would have to abide by what we put forward or don't
Correct.
sell it.
Correct.
No, good conversation.
The only unknown that Dr. Savetti brought up last week was the fire tax.
Yeah.
So obviously, if we become a municipal fire department, we would need to add that additional fire tax to that stabilization plan. How do we do that? I don't know the specifics of it, but we got to make sure we include that if that does come to fruition. Because if it's just that, then they pay the fire tax directly to, I'm assuming, Central or Hopkins Hill, both. Yeah.
Mm. So that, yeah,
That's- We know that we're paying a separate bill, which has nothing to do with what you're looking at. And then, of course, your solicitor and I can maybe put a paragraph in about if there is a change to that structure, what happens.
yep. Just so we have some language in there, should it need to be activated? And if it doesn't, it's silent. And if so, we activate it. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is good. Again, next step as far as this goes, Councilman Hool is on the record.
You agree to 10 years to pay for the traffic light? And the temporary right and the bridge and opening the road?
I'm not going to let him say yes.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Shut off, yeah.
checking it.
Shut off his
You
mic.
asked.
Shut off his mic. Yeah. Always got to try. Yeah. He's ready to make a deal, but I think we actually need some updates in language as far as steps go. So, just kind of where we're at tonight, we're still in a public hearing. We are, we kind of said our piece on the record. They said their piece. I'm not sure if the solicitor had technical changes you would want to make anyway. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure the council, you seem to have hit every single issue that's relevant to the TSA. But I want to make clear for the record, the concept of a fixed value versus a assessed value during that period of time. That's a concept the council would have to embrace. And then the question becomes the proposed value versus provided by the developer versus the value presented by your finance director. So that becomes a point of discussion and needs to be agreed to, because that's how the payment is going to be flushed out over the 10 or 12-year period. So that's a fundamental piece of the puzzle. All the other things, I think the council has laid out exactly how they feel, but the council needs to be comfortable with the concept of a fixed value for that 10-year period versus an assessed value, which gets changed every year.
And that may be something we just need a couple of different numbers run for, maybe 2 tables, a couple options, give us at least, a range, so to speak, with some caveats, and we'll just note the caveats so we all know what we're talking about and go from there. Go ahead, Councilman Hool.
I have a question. Would it be more feasible to maybe look at the tax rate, seeing as how they're being at a commercial tax rate versus changing the values? Because the values will always fluctuate. We could still keep our assessed value, but change the rate.
I think that would take a whole different approach. I think it's the applicant's request to fix the value versus and have a percentage payment graduating based upon a fixed value over the 10 years, as opposed to a percentage increase over 10 years or 15 years based upon the annual assessed value, which we all assume will go up. So they're looking for a fixed value.
That was where Mr. Eden and Ms. Salvatore were discussing the what's the word I'm looking for? That's it, the predictability. That's what they're referring to, right?
It's the council to embrace that concept.
So can you, Mr. Solicitor, send us an email with that as like kind of forefront, so it's something we'd be prepared for?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we want to work with the finance director and come up with these values that we don't want to just be pulling a value out of the air. So when we come back, we hope that he and I will agree that we're basing it on X value. But I want to be clear that we're actually asking for a fixed payment, not a fixed value. So it's just,
However, we
again,
back into that.
that's for,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Right,
you, and I think the solicitor wants you to base that on something. So we understand that. And when we come back, we will be very clear about what we're kind of assigning the value as.
Wouldn't a fixed payment be more beneficial than touching the assessed value? Because if
I think so, but
the assessed value will change your ability for financing, it's going to change all of your numbers on the back end as a developer,
it's unpredictable.
where we can keep the assessed value going. And then at the end of the 12 years or 13, whatever the assessment is, well, then that balloon, quote unquote, balloon payment's going to come in, but we'll already kind of know what it is because that assessed value is there.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So we would be more changing, like she said, the structure of the actual physical payment due. For easy numbers, if you owe us $100, well, we're just discounting that X amount of money, and you owe us the remaining balance. But the assessed value is still on paper,
Right.
which keeps
Which
the
it has to be
ROI and the value of the project higher.
It has to be, you have to continue to assess because the fire department assesses
Correct.
your number.
That's what I mean.
So,
You can't touch
but
that
you
number.
want to have a basis for what you're giving us.
When you're touching the assessed values, that's subjective, right? Like
It-
that's because an appraisal is it's an independent value of opinion. So
Yep.
you're going to get a different number. I'm going to get a different. You're not a real estate agent. Bobby's not a real estate agent. I'm not an appraiser. So that number is kind of skewed. It's like, where's it coming from?
Zillow, right?
Nobody's ever going to agree on it.
Right.
Throw your assessed value as what it's valued at,
Mhm.
and let Mr. Savetti and the finance in the town figure out the payment structure.
Once we figure.
Otherwise, it
yeah.
looks like we're messing with too many numbers.
That's
and
the
it's
thing.
sketchy.
Once we have the structure involved, we can then meet the
public will know
criteria.
exactly what we're doing.
That's why I
Condo's
wanted
worth
it
X
very
amount of money,
simple.
and
Yep.
here's what we're breaking it down for.
Very simple. Yep. Did you want to add something? Okay.
I just want to say, point well taken, Councilman. The town is required and must assess the value of this property each and every year and must capture it on their annual reports to the state and otherwise. If it's got to be, it's got to be put into your levy and then backed out of your levy. It's going to go in and out of your levy based upon this TSA, so that when that balloon payment comes, your levy reflects the fact that you have been carrying this assessed value all that time.
Yep.
But it helps us all the way around. It helps the developer can keep his numbers on his back end, appeasing for his investors, which then wants him to drop the TSA down to potentially what we're asking for to pay for the traffic light. It's all kind of tied in together. It's if he can, it's not like Mr. Eden sitting here with $100 and something million in his pocket in cash. There's investors that are paying for this stuff. He's got his network or whatever that may be. And if he has 150 million, he's definitely paying for the traffic light.
Well put.
All right.
To leave tonight's meeting with Mr. Eden here, Ms. Kelly here,
Yeah.
and have unsaid points
No.
that can't be developed for council.
That's why we hired you, sir.
Yeah. No, that's why we want it all out in the open, all transparent. Everybody can see how the sausage is made and then decide if they want to eat some more.
So I think as we worked through the numbers and some of the language in the TSA, David, we just continue the public hearing to the 28th.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
critical that you continue the public hearing to the 28th. It's both the TSA, I believe there is a resolution as well, right? Is it one item or two items?
It is a resolution with the attached agreement.
Right, it's a resolution and attached agreement. So the public hearing on the resolution attached agreement should continue. And between now and then, based upon the work that's being done behind the scenes, I will then touch these documents. Like at this point, I have not touched these documents. And now I have some council input, then I'll start providing some information on these documents. Not discussion points, actual touching the documents for your review. That make sense?
Thank you.
All right. So given we're still in a public hearing, anybody want to come up and come on up? And also, I don't see the little box. Thank you very much, Jackson. We're also, if you're on Zoom and you want to participate, get your hand raised. In the meantime, good evening.
Hi, Scott Guthrie, 31 Maplewood Drive. Vice President Brown brought up a good point that 30 years ago, what was going on over in there kind of like fell apart. Well, Frank, let's go back to 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, there used to be the Rhode Island Solid Waste Management Company and the Cranston landfill. And that 800 acres that sits there right now was proposed to be taken over by Waste Management, one of the biggest waste facilities in the country. And I went to every single one of their meetings. I think I was 18 years old, 19 years old. I think you even went to a couple of them and said, no, we really don't think that you're going to be able to take this landscape, dig it up, fill it with junk and build a golf course on top of it. So even way back when I was a kid, Frank was a kid, you know, when you care about your community and you stand up for it, it kind of leads to places. So it's a whole better thing that happened there with Center of New England and what the alternative would be. Because I'm sure there's not too many people around know that that was being proposed for that piece of property in the late 70s and early 80s. I just thought it was a good thing.
No,
to bring
this
up.
is good stuff. Oh, man. All right. Anyone else during? Yes, sir. Come on up.
Jerry Narkowitz, 21 Beach Street, Coventry, head of the Coventry Tioga Lake Association. You guys bantered around adjustments in road construction and light, if he'll do such and such. I'm asking you to please consider ensuring that the sewer line, whichever way it goes out of this development, can handle the section of Lake Tioga. It seems like a simple thing to do, but I need to make you aware that as you go through this approval process, that is considered. I'm not asking them to pay for the sewer. I'm asking them to make sure that we can attach if that day comes. Thank you.
Oh, great point. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anyone else in the room? Anyone on Zoom? All right. So this public hearing is being continued. We want to make a motion and a vote.
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing on the tax stabilization agreement presented by Star Capital LLC to the July 28th, 2026 meeting. And the resolution.
A second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We will continue. And let's see, if you haven't had enough chance yet to comment, we have 2 more chances for you. Let's go back up to public comment on, I think we have docketed and undocketed. Yeah.
Make a motion to.
I make a motion to combine both public comment for docketed and undocketed.
All right. Motion. Second, discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We are opening it up for comments. Anyone in the room? Please come on up.
Jason Nunes, 4-View Road.
Good
All right,
evening.
I'm addressing undocketed items. The Lake Tioga Gate project that was supposed to have started last November, December, and it's been kicked in the can, and we're waiting for all kinds of permits and approvals from everybody and their brother. I'm requesting a formal update for the July 28th council meeting on the status of that project. If that could be put on the agenda.
Corps of Engineers has it, waiting for the permit.
That's what we've heard like the last few months.
The gentleman.
Okay, now I'm going to go back to the bond issues. This bond was set last year. There's $750,000 of this project from a bond. The rest of the money, $260,000 is coming from the town. If that project is not completed and that money's not spent, the town is on the hook for another $750,000.
Is that
That December
Oh,
31st
sorry,
of
yeah.
this year.
Yep. Yep.
So we have a steel plate controlling the gate for Lake Tioga right now by Warwick Tree. Beautiful, beautiful.
All right, do I see anybody on Zoom? If you're on Zoom and we're doing public comment on docketed and undocketed items all at once. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand. Anyone else in the room? I see a hand. I see Samantha. One sec. If you can, yep, we'll light you up. And if you want to just come off mute and come on in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, Samantha Sargent, 285 Logbridge Road. I just wanted to point out about the Center of New England developments. They said they're not building any new roads. However, I noticed that there's 350 multifamily units planned off Arnold Road. And I just wanted to point out that is a town maintained road. It might be a state road, but the town maintains it. So while they're not building any roads, there would certainly be a big traffic impact to that road. So something to keep in mind with that. And then also, I think Scott Guthrie kind of talked about the old landfill next door being contaminated. So I just kind of wonder what the impact of that would be with building right next door. So that's my 2 cents I'm putting down on that. So thank you.
No, thank you very much. We'll take a note on that. That's interesting. All right. Anyone else? All right. Looks like that's it for public comment, and we have completed our agenda.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. Any